leftists. So which is fine. I mean, that's the nature of the world. Anyway, in fact, speaking of that, I put we were at Publix this morning, a couple hours ago, getting some stuff, and a guy came up behind me and said, "Yeah, I really miss your show." And I go, "Oh, get out of here!" So I put it on. I did a little selfie with him, put it on Facebook. Name is Brian, works at Publix, and he just came up and said, "Yeah, I really miss you guys." And
did you hug it out?
He recognized. We could have hugged it. We could have, but he recognized me, which is very rare. I used to get recognized a little.
I know.
But not really much anymore. But again, that's the second time at Publix in the last couple of weeks where someone came up and said, "Hey, I know who you are," and stuff like that. So anyway, Brian, thank you so much for your kind comments. Also, and now Jennifer flew in from Denver.
Boy, are her arms tired.
There you go. And
real quick, now that we're up on YouTube and Facebook, you should reintroduce Jennifer to everybody.
If you can see us on Facebook, and again, go to thekimmershow.net and hit the YouTube thing and hit the little subscribe button. And then you can be on YouTube. This is Jennifer, my daughter, my firstborn clunkhead, and she's visiting, and we're having a fun time. We're going out to dinner. We're seeing the horses at the stable. Got some great pictures of her with the horses. She's a huge fan of all the steeds there, and so we were just having some fun and goofing around. And if you want to give her a mic, is that mic charged up? You think?
Charged up.
We can wait for a while if you want to. It's no big deal. But I got Jennifer. You'll be interested in this. I just got a message on Facebook a little while ago from Tracy. And it says, "Hi, Jennifer. Love your dad. I was based in Denver as a flight attendant in the Green Valley Ranch area until recently transferring to Atlanta. He was the closest thing to home for me as I listened to him. Tried stalking him in the A concourse in Denver last year, but he got away before I could catch him." Thank you, Tracy. Try harder next time, will you? She's pretty. I mean, I'm looking at her picture. She's a dish. So anyway, thank you, Tracy. You're very sweet. We got also Eleanor said, "Hi, Jennifer. Hope you have a wonderful time with your dad. We look forward to the horse videos. Glad to see you're enjoying it." Patricia says, "Hi, Jennifer." I mean, you're getting a lot of people are just saying, because we talk about you all the time here on the podcast. So anyway, that was kind of cool, I thought. And your... Now, tell us about your flight at the airport in Denver. Was it mobbed, or do you have waiting on lines, or what?
The airport
hold that a
in
little
Denver,
closer.
I was there
Closer.
really early. But the airport in Atlanta was a mob scene.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And I'm in a wheelchair, so, like, get out of my way. I'm getting pushed. I'm paying for it. And there were just people everywhere. Like, she literally could not push me through.
Well, I mean, it's a 4th of July weekend on a Friday, so...
Well, it was
or
the
that was
busiest
Thursday,
day.
yeah.
But since when is the 4th of July, like, the busy... Like, I kept hearing that, and I was like, Thanksgiving and Christmas makes sense to me.
Well, the other
Like,
thing
the
is
4th of
with...
July is a driving holiday.
With
not a
COVID,
flying
though,
holiday.
everyone's starting to travel again, and
Right.
this was probably one of the first big holidays where they could get out and go somewhere.
You know, they have those cow catchers they can put on the front of it.
Here we get a new version of her walker. And by the way, I'm very proud of myself. You see this walker right here? I put that together. No, wait a minute.
trust that?
I put
No.
that together. I built that.
And then ask him what
It
he
came
did
in
with
pieces.
it outside.
It came in like 20 pieces with little cords and
I'm
everything.
going to channel Obama here. You didn't build that.
He
I built
built
that
it, but
better,
he
all
also
right.
let it run down the driveway because he didn't
Oh,
put
so,
on the brake.
we-
And I was like, Dad.
We get here, we pull into Flounders, and I'm a little early like always, so we're doing stuff in the car. So I take her, the walker, it folds up, and I take it out of the back seat and put it by the car, and I get back in the car and start talking to Jennifer and doing stuff, and all of a sudden Jennifer says, Dad, and I go, what? I turn around, the walker on wheels is rolling down the side, or down the parking lot, all the way down, so I'm racing and trying to catch the walker before it goes down to DeKalb County, because it's all downhill for about a mile here in Flounders. So I damn near tripped and fell, and it reminded me that I don't jog anymore.
You Clouseau'd it, basically. You Inspector Clouseau'd it.
Inspector, the crime is solved. But I put that baby together, and I'm very proud because everything. Have you ever bought a barbecue, for example, or a chair,
I put a stool together.
A stool.
And it fell apart.
Well, every time I have ever gone to a store and bought something you have to put together, even like a simple barbecue with just like 3 or 4 parts. And I swear to God, the last time I did it, and I said to the guy, I said, now, I'm just telling you right now, I'll be back because I promise you there's something wrong with something in this little kit. Yeah. And it was a barbecue thing. A simple one, cheap barbecue. And sure enough, I got it home, and it was missing a screw, and another screw was bent, and I couldn't put the and I swear to God, I took it back, and I said, "I told you." And I showed him. He says, "My God, you're right. I'm so sorry." And he put one together and gave it to. I mean, it's true. Everything I've ever tried to put together, there's something amiss, and it's not just me. I mean, it's a part guard bent or whatever. Anyway, so I'm very proud of your walk. Anyway, Jennifer, welcome aboard. It's always great to have you here, as always. And the flight. Did you see any pilots picketing? We saw a video, but did you actually see any pilots?
I was worried about having to cross the picket line, but I did not see them.
All right, now, and I did mention this. I fly maybe once every 2 years, so I don't. But when I do fly, I fly first class just because what the hell. Jennifer, being in a situation she's in after her stroke, it's kind of hard to get around. So obviously, I'm going to fly her up first class. And you didn't want to fly first class because you tried to take care of your daddy and his money and stuff. But tell about your experience on the plane. Did anybody give you any crap? Did you have to wear a mask? Were they nasty to you, or what happened?
No, and I flew first class right when they started flying after COVID on the same airline. And I flew first class, and they literally threw a plastic bag at me with a bottle of water this size and
Tiny,
peanuts. And that was it. I mean, I never saw them. They didn't come and see if I was okay, nothing. This time, they put a linen cloth down, had 4 choices of breakfast. The flight attendants were, because I am like kind of an ice fanatic, and I, of course, spilled. So they were really, really nice, giving me their arms every time I had to go somewhere. Very
What about
attentive.
masking?
No, there were no masks.
Nobody wearing a mask? Good sign.
Except me.
What?
Except me.
Oh, you wore one?
Well, the hijackers had some.
There you go.
I mean, because on the planes, normally you're so close. Like, when I was in first class and it had a lot more room, I did take it down, but they didn't require it.
Yeah.
Whereas when I flew to Florida, I was, because I'm disabled, when I fly Southwest, I'm the first person on the plane. So I holed up in the first row, and a guy sat next to me, and he had his mask around his throat, and the flight attendant said, "You agreed when you bought this ticket to wear a mask, so if you're not going to wear yours, we're going to turn the plane around right now and let you off." And I was like, oh, here we go. So I was waiting, but he did put it up. So
that was Southwest, right?
That was
a while ago.
Southwest.
Okay. Well, anyway, I'm glad you had a good experience, and
yeah, it was great.
and so there you go. Okay, doke. Let's see. Oh, what the hell? Oh, a couple of. By the way, we're going to do. This is Friday, right before the 4th of July, and by the way, I was listening to. I was on 106.3 this morning, as I'm Friday mornings around 7:30 usually, every week, and our podcast, of course, is on noon.
I missed that again. Damn it.
Well, that's good. I'm not good. I'm very self-conscious about it. I don't know why. I just feel like I'm not good. I don't know what it is. Anyway, and they're great. I mean, the guys, the morning show are great guys, but I don't know, whatever. Now what the hell was I had a train of thought, and Pete, it's your turn.
All right. Okay,
I was
Kimmer
talking about.
has already forgotten his train of thought. Brought to you by Atlanta Custom Closets. ClosetPro.net. 404-255-0589. That's Atlanta Custom Closets. ClosetPro.net.
What the hell was I talking about?
You're
don't
on the
remember.
show. You're self-conscious.
It doesn't matter.
You love the
Anyway.
show.
So we're going to do. We'll do some patriotic 4th of July type stuff. And again, I think Neil. Oh, I know what it was. I was mentioning. I was on 106.3 this morning, and one of the comments that Neil Bortz made, because he does a commentary, was that for people who say, "Well, we're celebrating the 4th of July," we're not actually celebrating the 4th of July. We're celebrating Independence Day. We're not celebrating a date. And it's a good point. I mean, when you think of it, if you're not celebrating a day of the week, you're celebrating what Independence Day is, what it means to us. So just for the record, and we all say, well, we'll have a happy 4th of July instead of having a happy Independence Day, so whatever. Anyway, just for the record, I acknowledge that and I appreciate it. So we'll talk. We have a couple of patriotic sound bites from various things. We'll do some stuff there. Also, some goodies and surprises. We got a lot of newsy stuff. I want to definitely talk about Freddie and the Braves. Have you done Holy Crap at Sports yet?
I sure did.
You did? I assume that was one of your comments on Freddie?
It wasn't the number one thing. The college football craziness was number one, but it's up there.
All right, well, we'll talk about it in a
I'm
minute.
getting tired of it. So, to tell you the truth.
Of the Freddie thing or the
Yeah,
football
I'm getting
thing?
tired of the Freddie thing. Now we got the agents whining, and I don't care to hear from
Well,
the agents. Shut
I'm not
up,
tired
go
yet
away.
because I'm still learning. I mean, today I learned what the agent said, so this is only the second step for me. Now, maybe you probably
Well, the
heard
thing
more
is,
than
he's gone. He's not coming back, at least not for a few years. He'll probably sign a contract at the end, or maybe they'll trade him back in years from now.
Yeah.
But it's over. It's done with. So this
Yeah.
is between the agents and the teams. Who cares?
Well, frankly, I'm still upset about it. I feel bad for him. I don't
he was
I don't
part
give
of
a
it.
shit where Freddie's playing. If he, I wish he were still here, but I don't care. I mean, it doesn't affect my life. But as a man and as a family guy and what he went through, I feel bad for him because this never should have happened. It should have been his decision, the final decision. Take your time. Everything's going. We do it all. We can work this out. It's going to be okay. And he should have been the final arbiter of everything, and he wasn't.
Here's the problem: that you're believing him, or you're believing the
Yeah.
Braves, or you're believing Doug Gottlieb, whoever, who says it's the agent's fault. The agent says it's not my fault.
there
I
are
told
three
him.
angles,
And
yeah.
what this will come out, if the agent's telling the truth, it'll come out that Freddie screwed this up.
Yeah.
And do we really want to know that?
No, I'm at the stage now where I still feel bad for him.
Yeah.
But again, it doesn't affect me, and I hope he does well, and hope he's happy, and his family's in L.A. and everything's fine.
Because if he made the final decision and he fired the guy, why'd you fire him? You're the one who did it.
Well, I don't know. Now, what was the thing on football you wanted to tease? You said the number one issue
You
was
didn't
football.
hear this?
No.
Southern Cal and UCLA.
Oh, yes, I did.
Are
Yes.
going to the Big Ten.
The Big Ten. In
And
fact,
Washington and Oregon are probably about to follow them.
Yeah, I that's what I marked on your sports section, which you're giving me a minute. We'll tell you. You mentioned this last week, remember? Or a few days ago, you said, hell, they're all going to the Big Ten now, or the SEC, I guess, now.
We're, instead of having 4 big conferences or 3 big conferences, we're going to be having
You'll
2.
have maybe 2.
And
yeah.
the ACC is looking around going, Notre Dame, when you want to come?
I mean, it's getting...
Whoever
and it's
gets
all,
Notre Dame probably wins this round.
But it's all money, right? Isn't it
Oh,
all
it's
TV
all
money?
Yeah, because the Big Ten's about to sign a contract for over $1 billion. That's
Jesus,
$100 million
you got
for
to be
every
kidding.
team.
How are they going to make that money back? Do people, advertisers,
think
pay
they
that kind
ever
of money
do.
for football games in college?
You get people to watch your other shows because you're constantly advertising
God,
your
I
other
get,
shows.
but the promos to watch something on the network later is enough to get them to pay $1 billion for
People are sitting
college
home watching
football?
TV.
I guess. Well, good. And somebody knows something I don't, and that's pretty clear.
But the thing is, the SEC, Texas and Oklahoma are at least right next to us.
Yeah, close to the
It's still a
SEC.
geographic section.
yeah. Yeah,
Los
I know.
Angeles is nowhere near
it's ridiculous.
Nebraska.
Yeah. Well, remember the Braves used to be in the National League West.
Yeah. They did, and the Falcons too.
How
They
the
did
hell
that
did that
because they
happen?
hated Atlanta. They didn't
Yeah,
care
they
about
didn't give a
Atlanta.
shit.
Screw them. They're going to have to fly so much every year.
Yeah, I have noticed if I check in on ESPN Sports Centers type stuff once in a while, they are mentioning Atlanta more. I
They
think
have to.
Yeah, I've seen them get a little more respect to Atlanta and when they call them World Series champions or whatever, which is at least our due. But I've noticed that they're giving us a little more respect than they ever did.
The poor Hawks who are making moves right now, they're being buried in the
Yeah.
news because of this goes on. And this just in, Phil Mickelson has just joined the Big Ten.
I love it.
Did you hear the Onion's headline on Mickelson? His reason is he's joined the LIV tour, the Saudi Arabian tour, because it'll take money away from the next 9/11 attack the Saudis are planning.
In fact, there's a bunch of great memes going around about that very thing. By the way, I mean it's just freaking hysterical. I can't find one at the moment, but we'll be talking
the
about
Hawks
it.
have just made a trade.
Oh, really?
The Kings, the Sacramento Kings, the NBA's minor league franchise, is sending a 2024 lottery-protected first-round pick, which the Hawks need because they just sent 3 to San Antonio, I believe, to the Hawks for Kevin Huerter. So Kevin Huerter, the red guy, the redheaded.
I don't know,
We
yeah.
gave up 3 first-round picks the other day, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they get one back.
But that's in 2 years. So who knows when 2 years what's
But
going
Kevin
on. Well, that's
Huerter's
good.
gone. Everyone loved Kevin Huerter. That's a shame.
I don't know him. I don't watch I don't watch the NBA. I'm boycotting
He was the white guy
NBA.
with the red hair.
Well,
He stood out.
I'm not watching the NBA because I don't like what they believe in. I don't like how they treat America. I don't like what they think about our country, and I don't like what they think about communist China. And it's a story. And when that asshole Kerr and all the rest of them are saying, well, we have the right to kneel for the national anthem. We don't give a damn about American patriotism. Oh, really, Steve? Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Kiss my ass, and I'm not watching your stupid game. I mean, I'm not. I'm just not. Well, there you go. No, see, Jennifer's going nuts over here saying, no, there's nothing wrong with communism.
She's got the poor Nuggets to follow. Why? Come on.
Yeah, then you got Denver.
You got the best player, Jokic. He's the best player.
That's right. That's true. Anyway, so we'll do a lot of stuff here on talking about patriotism and the things, and I got a whole bunch of newsy stuff here and some weird stuff and a bizarre crime story that also the overturning of the McIver case. We'll talk about that. President Potato Head embarrasses America again, bashing our country overseas on foreign soil. I thought that was always a no-no. You don't become a president or the leader of the Senate or any big-time Charlie politician from one country and go to another country and bash your home country on a foreign soil. Anyway, but first, a couple things. I mentioned I've been getting a lot of spam calls, but I got two things happened yesterday that I don't understand. I promise you, at least a year ago, maybe a couple of years ago, I got a couple of times on my phone, 2 or 3 or 4 weeks apart, I would get a voicemail, and it was either a serious inner city black guy or a guy pretending to be a serious inner city black guy. And I don't care what Judge Ito says, and Lance Ito on the O.J. Simpson trial, when the guy witness testified, well, he sounded black. Oh, no, it's racism. Well, you can tell what a black guy sounds like. Please give me a freaking break. Anyway, so this guy said, and I won't try to mimic him, but the message on my voicemail was this. You left your number on my windshield, mofo. You do that again, and I'm going to dip it country bomb. Now, what the hell was that? That's what the message was. I left my phone number on his windshield somewhere in Florida. A guy in Florida. Okay, that was like 2 years ago. Okay, and then a few weeks after that or before that, sometime in the same time period, the same voice guy left a message, and it said, the next time you call my girlfriend in the middle of the night, I'm going to come over there and bash your old bunch of motion about. And I'm going, where the hell did this come from?
You call him back and say, you
no,
ain't going to do
I
crap.
deleted the numbers immediately and just forgot the whole thing.
If you call them back, they can hack your account.
But the guy's back. He did the same phone calls, the same voice, the same wording. It must be on tape. And he called my number, both voice messages, again yesterday. What the hell? It's been years. Huh?
I don't know why everyone is trying to hack
I don't get it. I got spam calls, and again, my phone got hacked this morning. I got a message, oh, your phone's been hacked. And I said, oh, shit. So, I turned it all the way off, and then I redid it and turned it back on again, and I don't think it's been hacked. But again, I don't get it.
I get the same texts from different people wanting to buy the same house on Melrose Avenue somewhere here in Atlanta. And I play around with them going, I'll take $15 right now. If you have $15,
Cash,
you come to this Kroger.
I'll meet you in an hour.
Are you serious about this? So the poor people. This is what I got this morning from Arian Hugs. It says you sent a payment of $762.59 to Creative Arms LLC. We're going to charge this on your Amazon order. Not Amazon, Amazon.
Amazon, yeah.
They can't even get that straight when they're doing this.
Tell by the syntax and the spelling.
Yeah, the whole
usually.
thing is obviously from Nigeria and the guy that's Amazon.
I guess it works.
I put that. Well, it works with very.
Have you been nailed for it? Lost money?
I'm very suspicious.
Yeah.
So
well, I am now.
I put everything in spam folder. If it's a text message or a phone call. If it's a phone call I don't recognize, I don't answer it, and then I block it. But I used to, because I'm an asshole. I'm sorry. I don't know if I can
we're a
say
podcast.
that.
Trust me.
But I used to answer it and just press like the 8 button, so it made a horrible long beeping sound in their ear. But then I saw something on the news that said they're trying to get you to connect with them. So now I don't do that. I just don't answer it, and then I block them. But it's the same thing with you getting the message that you got hacked this morning. You know, they're waiting for you to do something so they can get at your account.
I'll tell you what I was doing. I was, in fact, I brought in the Vanity Fair. For some reason, Vanity Fair is now sending me 2 copies every month, whatever. So I brought one in for Pete earlier. Usually I read them and then give them to Pete, but I brought it in. And there was the front page of it is a picture, which I didn't even recognize her, of Dakota Johnson. And I thought, well, she was in 50 Shades of Grey, and she was in she played that little trampy girl with the fancy panties in social media, social network. That the guy who did the music thing slept with after meeting her on college campus. Anyway, so she played a great role. I think she's cute, and she's not, it doesn't knock me out with anything. But I thought, well, this is interesting. Maybe there's something in there. So I Googled Dakota Johnson on my phone. They figured it might be something for the show or whatever. And all of a sudden it said, "You've been hacked." And then there was a line that said, "Okay, check this now," and okay. And I said, no, I shut off the phone. I did not hit the okay. But again, I would have been, who knows. So just one thing after that. Now, here's, one last thing on this hacking business, and I thought this was really bizarre. This is from our friend Brandon.
Let's go.
He says, "I'm listening to your scam story right now on the latest podcast. Felt compelled to share what my wife and I have been doing the last couple of days. The past 2 days in a row, the same exact time in the morning, a local area code is... By the way, that's a trick. They're now using 404 area when they call me. A local area code has called my wife's phone. When she answers, the asshole on the other line says that they need to talk to her about me. When my wife asks, what is it in regards to, they all say, well, it's a business matter, and that they can't give her any more information until she gives them information about me. Well, my wife and I have always said that the most important thing to do when we get scam calls is to keep them on the phone for as long as possible. Our theory is that if we do that to them, maybe they won't have as much time to screw with somebody else who's more vulnerable. I'm proud to report my wife kept them on the phone for a total of 2 hours. I don't think I want to spend that kind of time, but that's really amusing. And like you in the house, $20, it's yours. Yeah, meet me at Kroger in an hour. Oh, really freaking bizarre. Okay. We got a billion. Let's do a little patriotism thing here. Just a couple of quick things. I thought, again, the 4th of July is Monday. This is Friday as we speak. 4th of July, Monday. There was a Gallup poll that came out, I think, yesterday, Wednesday night or Thursday. And it showed, well, first of all, there was a woman in California, a school board member of a California school board, a woman, and she said, I haven't celebrated the 4th of July since 2016 when Donald Trump won the presidency. And she said, and she's calling for a boycott of celebrations of the 4th of July, of Independence Day. That's gonna
right on.
Yeah, we'll make sure we get some banners up. Yeah, we're gonna put some posters everywhere.
Wait, founder, what do you got?
Again, I don't know if this is the same article, but there's a teacher in California that's trying to boycott the 4th of July.
Her. That's her.
I didn't know if it was the same story. I'm paying attention, damn it.
There you go. But she's trying. I mean, she's really trying to make an effort. It's not just. Yeah, I know. I know. It's amazing to me, but still, the fact that she would even want to try to do it. Who do they think they are? Again, you know what? It's all social media. This woman thinks because she has an iPhone and everybody else does, that she can post this and she's going to probably get a GoFundMe going, and everybody in America is going to be, oh my God, she wants to da-da-da, and they're going to be reacting to this woman's meme or post or whatever it is on her cell phone in California.
Like you are right now.
Like I am right. But again, this is the nightmare of social media, and this is what gives people like that the wherewithal to think that we really care about them. I don't care what this woman in California wants to boycott Independence Day. Fine, kiss my ass. What do I care? But again, we're talking about. I mean, it's a social media ramifications, and that's what the media does when they see what's on Twitter every morning to decide what to cover on the news. Anyway, so that's her goal. The Gallup poll showed this.
What you just did. You just looked at it. You decided to cover it.
Well, but I have to counter it because it's all over. I mean, a flounder, it's on the news. It wasn't just me seeing it on a post somewhere. It's in the news. I mean, it's a national story. Gallup did a survey, and it showed that the percentage of Americans who are extremely proud of our country is 38%. Seems a tad low to me. Very proud, 27%. So the good news is that people who are what you would call proud of America are about 60%. Now, let me ask you this. How could you not understand when we talked about this morning on the radio? Boris Johnson being interviewed by Jake Tapper or somebody on CNN, and Jake Tapper's question was, as a premier or the head of a prime minister of a foreign country, not a king, not a prime minister of a foreign country, are you concerned that America's democracy is at risk, that we're losing our democracy? And he says, are you Of course not. You got the greatest country in the world. Everybody wants to go to America. You're a role model. You're the greatest country that's ever been formed. How can you say a thing like that? And again, foreign leaders have to remind us this is not a terrible place to live. Every brown person in the world wants to come here. If we're so racist and white supremacist oriented and everything is, hatred and racial division and stuff, why do all the brown people want to come to America? You notice they're not all going to Sweden and Switzerland and Denmark and Finland and Russia and Saudi Arabia or anywhere else, any other continent. They're not flocking to anywhere except America. Well, that should mean, doesn't that give you kind of a clue? Anyway, I'm flabbergasted. I really am. I just do not understand it. Anyway, just for the record, just a little thing. Now, speaking of patriotic ideas for the Independence Day celebration this weekend, they're bringing back the fireworks at Centennial Olympic Park for the 25th year. They haven't done it during the China kill virus, but they're bringing it back. It's called a Celebration of Atlanta for Atlantans, and it's going to be at the Georgia World Congress Center Authority, bringing it back to the Centennial Olympic Park under the name Look Up Atlanta. They're going to have professional sports teams, Atlanta Symphony, local food vendors, and fireworks, and you're going to have to buy a ticket to get in. I thought,
that stuff was always free to go down there. You just had to pay for parking and stuff like that.
Well, here's what they've done. The guy says the model was unsustainable. According to Lamont, the guy in charge of the thing here, they brainstormed a way to search the big story, how to bring the community together, and da-da-da-da-da. The event in past years had little programming beyond the fireworks. This model was unsustainable since the event would cost $375,000 a year to cover public safety and security infrastructure and expenses, so forth. So to preserve the event for years to come, the group has changed its economic model to be tickets at $10 a piece with family deals and more codes. There's a VIP village as part of the fireworks display at $40 a ticket, $20 for children, and they will have an elevated experience with access to premier viewing areas, summer gifts, and locally curated food and beverages options for purchase. Anyway, so it's going to cost you. For the first time, but local vendors and so forth, but it's going to cost you money. And I remember Lenox Square used to do that. Remember, every year, 4th of July would do free fireworks. Yeah. And remember, when we were at the long-time radio station back in the 90s, they had I was going to be on vacation out of town, I think visiting the kids on the 4th of July. In fact, I'm sure that's what it was. And so I wasn't there, but the 4th of July celebration people at Lenox Square asked me to record the Pledge of Allegiance. And this was at a time, this was the year, I can't remember what, it had to be mid-90s, let's say. And this was at the time, let's say mid-90s. You bastard. Now you're supposed to say mid-90s. This prick's been doing this to me for years. Anyway, and I keep falling for it. Anyway, so this was at a time when there was a huge debate over whether or not we should have under God, indivisible under God, pledge allegiance. Remember that? And there were court cases. There was Supreme Court ruling. It was a huge thing at that whole time. So, and ironically, they asked me to give the Pledge of Allegiance to be played at the screen at the fireworks at Lenox Square, which is a huge, accolade. I was honored and thrilled. So they brought a TV camera into the studio one day. I recorded the Pledge of Allegiance. And the way I recorded the Pledge of Allegiance was, I got to the point, one nation, under God, which is the way it should be said, indivisible, like that. And that's the way I did the Pledge of Allegiance.
But it didn't air, did it?
Right. I came back from vacation. And somebody said, why didn't they play your Pledge of Allegiance? And I said, what are you talking about? I said, well, they didn't play it. I said, what do you mean they didn't play it? Well, they didn't play it. And so I screamed bloody murder, and I went to the program director, who was the guy who didn't last long that year.
Which one?
Well, yeah, he was there like 6 months or something. And I went to him and I said, what the hell? And he said, well, they said there wasn't enough time. I said, wait a minute. 'Cause I said, we need to get an answer for this. Why? They obviously censored it because they didn't want me making a point about saying under God. It was clear that they were offended by me saying, let's make sure we say under God the way it was designed. And so the way it was eventually designed, Red Skelton's version. Anyway, so they just lied to him. They completely lied to him, and I blasted them all, and blasted Lenox Square, and I forgot, what's the name of the company that owns Lenox? I can't remember what it was, but I blasted them too. And it was all really nasty and negative, and they hated me, and I mean, it was just horrible because they were being politically correct on the 4th of freaking July.
Well, how do you not have time for the pledge?
They lied. Of course they had time. There's no time limit. It's all night. I mean, what is it, a minute and a half? I mean, come on. And that's what I said. Well, what do you mean no time? It was 80 seconds, So I don't know. But that, that reminds me, it's just they're making politics out of freaking everything these days.
I find it fascinating that it took, let's see, 32 minutes for you to manage to turn the holiday around to you, the Kimmer.
This is my job, mister. This is my duty. Speaking of, I said duty. Oh my God. Speaking of duty, hold on a second. I want to salute a couple of Medal of Honor recipients. Do a quick couple of military shout outs in honor of the Independence Day. And we will also hear a patriotic comment or two, and also a ridiculous President Potato Head comment or two, and all that stuff coming up here. And we'll talk more with Pete and sports and everything. And we got a whole bunch of stuff. But first, let's say you need something you can't find in any of those typical little stores where you live. So
you need
how
something
about,
you can't find.
He did it again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna learn. I swear to God, I just keep doing it because it's gonna teach me a lesson. If you're looking for something you can't find anywhere else, how about our friends at M&S Title Pawn? I say it slowly because it sounds like I'm saying M&S, but it's M&S Title Pawn. And they are in a lovely little town nearby called Bremen, Georgia, right there at 306 Laurel Street, Suite A. In downtown Bremen. They're open Monday through Saturday. See them in person if you like, or get to them on the web. Now, the name of the company is M&S Title Pawn. If you spell out M&S, it's spelled M-A-N-D-S. So if you want to get them on the web, it's manstitle.com, M-A-N-D-S title.com. They also love to answer the phone. Here's the number, 678-821-3337. That's M&S Title Pawn in Bremen. And I'm pausing. And we go. All righty. Excellent. What are you doing over there? Everything all right? Are you checking the picture?
Yeah.
Everything okay?
Everything's good.
What'd we do?
Nothing. Keep going.
Okay, just checking. Hold on a second. Let me do that, and we'll do that. All right, a couple of things. Saluting some heroes. Actual heroes in honor of Independence Day. And I hope you don't mind, but I shall start with the United States Marine. John Basilone. Every Marine knows that name. A New Jersey man, the only enlisted man in World War II to receive both the Medal of Honor and the Navy Cross, which is one step below the Medal of Honor on the ranking of heroic awards for service. At the battle for Henderson Field at Guadalcanal, John Basilone, the Marine, manned 2 heavy machine gun sections as 3,000 Japanese attacked him. He held his position for 3 days and 3 nights. No sleep, no rest, no stopping to eat, no food, no nothing. When he ran out of ammunition, John Basilone fought through enemy fire over contested gunfire ground to resupply his guns. At one point, totally out of proper ammunition, he fought off these thousands of Japanese with his .45 pistol. For this, he was awarded the Medal of Honor. And the United States government said, "You're done, man. We got to keep you out of this." And he said, No, I demand to go back to my unit," which he did. And he went to Iwo Jima. And there he was killed and was awarded the Navy Cross posthumously. Sorry. I demanded to go back to his unit. Army, Navy. A Navy Award. Captain Cromwell, senior leader of the Navy's submarine efforts, World War II. He was privy to vital information that could not fall into enemy hands. When it became clear he was the leader of the submarine crew, when it became clear he was about to be captured by an Axis vessel, which would mean he would be subject to torture and drugs to induce him to tell the secrets that he knew and that they knew he knew, he did the unthinkable. Captain Cromwell of the United States Navy sunk his submarine rather than be captured. There was an easier way out, but he took the hard road to protect our freedom and sacrificed his life so they couldn't find out what they wanted to know. One more. Army, Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Custer. His older brother is the more famous General Custer, although Thomas actually has the distinction of being one of the only Americans to ever be awarded 2 Medals of Honor, a feat which, by the way, can no longer be accomplished. They don't allow it. By the age of 20, Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Custer had already won the award twice by the age of 20 for charging into enemy fire on horseback, leaping barricades, killing all the enemy, and basically winning the day back when George Armstrong Custer was also in the Army and got his at Custer's last stand. Anyway, just a few of the heroes to remind us what things are like when it comes down to it. Can I tell you a story about a guy called the Human Bomb? This is kind of a weird survivor story. Is that okay? We do that for Independence Day? 1943, an American airman was in the bombing spree of a French town, Saint-Nazaire. You may have heard of Saint-Nazaire, western France, near the Loire River. Because of the access to water, the Germans made the town a major naval port for their U-boats. America started bombarding the area, but it was risky because the Germans protected the town with highly effective surface-to-air and air-to-air defense missiles and rockets. January 3rd, 1943, led by Colonel Curtis LeMay. He was that nutbag. Remember him? He wanted to bomb everybody to the Stone Age. Whose running mate was he? Was it Barry Goldwater?
Maybe.
Might have been Gold. I think it was... Was it Goldwater? What next? I can't remember. I met him Goldwater. He was an Air Force colonel. He was a nutbag, and then a general. He involved a force of 85 B-17 Flying Fortress bombers. Among them was number 24620, nicknamed Snap, Crackle, and Pop. Would put on the nose cones, the nicknames for the aircraft. Snap, Crackle, and Pop, which had a remarkably lucky man on board named Alan McGee, born in Plainfield, New Jersey. 5'7". He was assigned to the ball turret. That's the machine gun in the back of the plane, the little plastic see-through little ball that's in the back there. The most vulnerable part of the plane, the first thing the enemy always targets is the machine guns and that little plastic ball in the bottom of the plane. No protection at all with that plexiglass against bullets or anything, so you're a sitting duck. The U-boat pens, to minimize civilian casualties, the air raid had to take place in broad daylight. So they took off from their base in England early morning of a clear sky. It was his 7th mission. They entered French airspace. He crammed himself into his ball turret as 35 Messerschmitts zoomed in on top of them. Snap, Crackle, and Pop made it over the target area. 109 raked its right wing, shearing off a section of it. Bullets burst through the thin plexiglass, hitting Allen. Scrambling out of his turret onto the flight deck, he groaned at what he saw. A gap had been torn open on the side of the bomber. Outside was right there. The plane shook, began its downward death spiral. Allen ran to get his parachute. Well, it certainly wasn't his day there either. The parachute had been ripped to shreds by German flak. The bomber continued to plummet to the ground. He could only shrug, take a deep breath, and pray, and then he jumped through the opening in the aircraft, praying before he blacked out. Down below, people were in the open waiting for the air raid to end, and those standing near the Saint-Nazaire railway station looked up and scrambled away as another bomb hurled from the sky their way. And then they said, wait a minute, that's not a bomb, that's a guy. That was Allen. He fell for 4 miles, completely unconscious. You get knocked out when you're with oxygen lack and so forth. Completely unconscious. His body made a beeline toward the railroad station's beautiful glass skylight, which somehow was miraculously intact from the bombing raid, but not for long. Allen punched a hole right through the glass ceiling skylight, landed with a thud on the station floor, and woke up before a stunned German doctor who said, "I'm going to try to save you." They put him in a prisoner of war camp. He had 28 shrapnel wounds, broken face, broken nose, ripped off eye, punctured lung, kidneys, broken legs, ankles, right arm torn out of his torso, da-da-da-da-da. The German authorities were so in awe, he jumped out of an airplane with no parachute and lived. He was treated very well, but they still put him in a POW camp. But despite the fact that the town was basically destroyed as Saint-Nazaire by the war's end, the residents made a monument to Snap, Crackle, and Pop and its crew and welcomed Allen back in 1993, 50 years later, for the dedication to Snap, Crackle, and Pop and his efforts. He participated in the town's destruction, but they made him an honorary citizen, and he lived to be 84 years old and died a normal human death after jumping out of a perfectly good airplane that was no longer perfectly good.
Did they hand him a bill for the stained glass window?
I would think they probably, the French people. Hold on a second.
All right, we got some people chiming in on YouTube here.
Oh, good. Hi, YouTube.
Dave and Sherry. It's not really a person, YouTube.
No, it's not
kind of a
actually,
platform. But
it's a meme.
hey, Kimmer, longtime fan. I would like to nominate my fiancée, Sherry, for being an official Kimmer babe. She's smart, gorgeous, blonde, brightens everybody's day, 5'3", size 7 shoe.
Ooh.
He obviously enjoys the show. He knows
in.
what he's talking about. Hey, Dave, no picture. It doesn't.
Yeah, no pic, no true. We need a picture. Also,
She might be your Canadian girlfriend.
it's going to be possible. And by the way, I assume that she would wear high heels on the back of a Harley. That, again, was one of the keys. One of my other questions used to be, who's your favorite stooge? Of course, Curly's the right answer, but look at Jennifer. She's going nuts over here. He said, my father. That's my father.
I see anybody wearing high heels on a motorcycle, immediately I'm like, what an idiot.
Well, they're too sexy. They're just a sexy chick. A guy will do anything for a girl like that. If you wear high heels on the back of my Harley, you get anything you want. I mean,
A lot of people saying hello to Jennifer. How you doing?
Excellent. And again, if you go to thekimmershow.net, everything you want about us or the radio station 106.3 or the app or sending us an address, is PayPal, everything, the podcast, how you get on YouTube, thekimmershow.net. If you see the YouTube glippity glop, hit that, and then when subscribe comes up, hit that, and you're done forever. It'll mean it's free. There's no charge. You're not going to bug you. You never have to do it again. But if you do it, we have thousands of listeners and only hundreds of subscribers. So the more people who sign up, the better chance we have of trying to get some advertising to get some money in here and keep this going. So please, thekimmershow.net. And hit the YouTube, or you can find all your stuff you're looking for there. And again, thank you. I'm sorry to talk about money all the time. Should we do it? Should we do a little Gipper? Sure. Coming up, huh? What?
What are you doing?
What do you mean?
You just spoiled the joke.
What joke? What?
You're supposed to be President Reagan put an inspirational 4th of July Independence Day message out there. President Reagan.
Right. No.
Not the. See,
All right, I'm missing everything. I have no idea what you're talking about.
The whole joke was.
What joke?
We were going to say President Reagan had this inspirational.
So today our
Independence Day
current
thing,
president.
And then we were going to play this.
Here we go.
You know, it'd be better if you let me in on the joke because that's the first I've heard of it. I'm just saying.
I can always add it.
There we go.
Someday when the team's up against it, breaks are beating the boys. Ask them to go in there with all they've got. Win just one for the Kipper. I don't know where I'll be then, but I'll know about it. I'll be happy.
Well, Well, okay, it still was going to work. I was just going to say, now President Ronald Reagan on
The
Independence
joke was
Day.
everyone's expecting this very 4th of July Independence Day thing from President Reagan, and then we'd have the Newt Rockney story, the Gipper line.
Right, okay.
And that was the joke. He said, hey, we're going to do let me give you the punchline of this joke before we...
Okay, normally if there were 3 people involved in the situation,
No.
telling more than 2 of them would be a fairly good idea.
When Flounder, back me up on this. When we came up this other day, you were laughing just like all of us how funny this would be.
Right. But I hadn't been spoiled. We hadn't gotten
You
to the
said
speech.
it was the Gipper, which spoiled it, did it
Oh,
not?
but that's... Oh, well,
What we should have done is
always
here is a 4th of July patriotic speech from the greatest president of all time.
Okay, all right. Well, all right. So edit this all out.
I don't know why you didn't play the Catskills.
What am I, Shecky Green here? Look up.
You're more like Jack Carter.
We still have another great presidential
All
speech
right,
coming up.
In honor of Independence Day, and it's not the 4th of July, it's the Independence Day celebration. Here is one more little something to enjoy and celebrate our love for our country.
Is this the one where...
In less than an hour, aircraft from here will join others from around the world. And you will be launching the largest aerial battle in the history of mankind. Mankind, that word should have new meaning for all of us today.
Focus.
We can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore. We will be united in our common interest. Perhaps it's fate that today is the 4th of July, and you will once again be fighting for our freedom. Not from tyranny, oppression, or persecution, but from annihilation. We're fighting for our right to live, to exist. And should we win the day, the 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, but as the day when the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
And a crowd goes wild. The movie, Independence Day. Again.
And the aliens killed them all.
Yeah. Now, how did they... I forgot how they got rid of them. Do we know?
Randy Quaid.
Randy
flew
Quaid
right
saved
up
the
in there.
world.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And then we went up and Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum put a virus into the mothership.
Ah.
And then they came back a few years later.
Well, yeah,
No one
that's
saw
it.
that.
Didn't work out that well for the whole family.
It's all into slavery.
What a heartbreaker. Anyway, my goodness. By the way, I thought this was rather bizarre that the Al Jazeera Constitution has made it a point to say, once again, celebrating our independence this weekend with fireworks and cookouts, but we are pleading for calm. For God's sakes, please celebrate the summer without any violence. Use your words, not your bullets. And I love this. They say, talking to by the interim police chief, is quoted as saying, quote, "We can take down drug operations that breed violent crime. We can dismantle gang organizations that breed violent crime. We can stop robbery crews that breed violent crime. We cannot stop someone who's mad because there's too much mayonnaise on their sandwich." Oh, wait a minute. You're not stopping drug operations that breed violent crime. You're not stopping dismantling gang organizations, and you're not stopping robbery crews, you dirty, stinking fake. I mean, what a crock. What a totally freaking crock. Well, we can stop all the crime, but it's you people, if you got, it's you white supremacist guys who are going to the store that we have to worry about. Oh, my God.
Was it a white supremacist who shot the subway person for too much mayonnaise?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And by the way, this same police chief, he's the interim acting chief, Shearbaum, and he's openly gay. And instead, we just heard him saying we can stop crime and so forth. And there's a huge commentary with him and an article that he is demanding Interim Chief Shearbaum is demanding that extremist group, white supremacist groups like the Proud Boys, stop disrupting gay pride events.
They're not doing any of
Right.
that.
Well, there's a clear line between peaceful protest and intimidation, and what we saw across the country in these other events. If you're thinking of coming to our city to disrupt individuals celebrating pride, and you do it with a heart of hate, by God, we're going to hold you accountable. Oh, it's so good to know that you're going to take care of the pride protesters while the gangbangers are still doing whatever the hell they want. And by the way, Chief, you know exactly where the gangbangers are. Yep. You know who they are. You know where they live. You know where their gang clubs are. You know their headquarters and everything else. You know what they do. You know where they sell the stuff. You know all those cops in the narcotic squad know all this stuff. So don't be telling me, your big concern now is white supremacists messing around with gay pride events.
I had no idea.
Jesus.
The APD chief. So it shows how much I care about Atlanta now.
Yeah.
That the chief was gay. I didn't care.
Right. First I heard of it when I saw it in print. And I mean, I don't care either way. But again, so now he's got. Well, it's like that idiot now, freaky Frenchy girl at the podium, the White House press spokesman. The first thing out of her mouth was, "I'm so proud to be the first black female tranny," and then she had like 4 different things with pronouns. No, isn't she?
No, she's not trans.
Well, she's whatever. I mean, she's the first gay black.
She doesn't check that
something.
box.
I mean, well, whatever. But again, that's the first thing she said.
Karine
It's not
Jean-Pierre.
to work for my country. I mean, it's just again, this wokeism and labeling yourself with a category is just wrong.
It's tribalism, is what it is.
It's division.
Yeah.
I'm this and you're not, so I'm different, and we're,
But Theodore Roosevelt said, anyone that comes up to you and says, "I'm a blank American, I'm this American, whatever," said, if you're not just an American, don't trust them.
Yeah, and you can be proud of your culture and everything else.
Yes.
But
no one's saying you have to forget that you're from Africa or Asia or even Ireland.
We know there's Little Italy, there's Chinatown. Everybody's happy with your, that's fine.
Irish.
But that's got nothing to do with being an American anyway. All right, hold on. We're going to wait to hear President Potato Head coming up. Also, the McIver trial. And the dumbest woman on the Supreme Court may be replaced by another woman who doesn't know what a woman is. But first, let's say you're tired of your ride. You want to swap your... Let's say... Jennifer. Swap My Whip, another one of the Kimmer Show podcast sponsors, and with our great appreciation. Swap My Whip. Now, whip is a colloquial term for a ride, a car, so forth. SwapMyWhip.com. If you go there, you can find like-minded car owners when you don't want to deal with dealerships and used car salesmen and so forth. SwapMyWhip.com might just get you a better deal by avoiding the middleman completely. Trading your car, your boat, jet ski, stuff like that, whatever, at SwapMyWhip.com. And right now, use the coupon code KIMMER, KIMMER, for 180 days of free premium listings on SwapMyWhip.com. That's SwapMyWhip.com. And back to the action here. Boom. We got a bunch of weird memes I want to tell you about here, too, coming up here shortly. Also, Mayor Pete now wants to spend $1 billion to get rid of all our racist roads. We'll talk about that in a second. Also, Pete, it's time for us to feel guilty about the Emmett Till case again, because that's again
it's
back
July.
in the news. Yeah, well, it's time. Every month or so, the paper has to come out with an article about Emmett Till from the 50s. But first, let's talk about President Vijay. Politics today, it's hard to believe, but the Quinnipiac poll, did you see this the other day? No. Quinnipiac poll has just come out. And they believe that the pimp in the pulpit, Raphael Weifnacher, is leading Herschel Walker by 10 points, at least. Now, that may well be true. Again, the only poll that really counts is Election Day. And it may be that, that they picked the wrong guy to take on a sitting senator, even though he's a would-be wife killer. Anyway, just, the polls, again, what bothers me is that there's one thing about research. If a candidate is doing research and doing polling to find out what's going on out there and what he needs to make sure he addresses, that's one thing. But when companies will deliberately do a poll to try to make a candidate look bad, that's political. That's a whole different area. That's not research. That's politics to try to, say, well, you might as well not vote for Herschel. He's not going to win. mean, that's why they do it.
Well, the other poll's even more disturbing.
Which one?
That Abrams is tied with Kemp.
Yeah, 50-50 tied with Governor Kemp. I just can't believe that. You can't tell me that's true.
Well,
Now maybe it is because we're a purple state now.
there's a
So
buttload of Democrats that have moved here, and they're just dumber than hammers.
well, and what was it? Was it Virginia or someplace it backfired? The Democrat Party I'm so sorry, I can't remember the state. The Democrat Party spent something like $15 million to try to get the worst Republican candidate in the election so that they would beat him by the Democrat.
Colorado did that.
Was it Colorado? Yeah, maybe it was Colorado. I think it was Colorado, to try to get the worst guy as the Republican nominee so that they could beat him this fall. And it was like, what's that? Mike, I can't hear you.
They did it with two people who are running.
Yeah, and it apparently backfired because they're thinking this guy, they may have just, cut their own throat on it, but they spent literally millions of dollars.
There's a thing. Vicky put this on Facebook, and I redid it, passed it on. You came here from there because you didn't like it there, and now you want to change here to be like there. You're welcome here. Only don't try to make here like there. If you want to make here like there, you shouldn't have left there in the first place.
Don't come here. Yeah.
And that's what these idiots. They're locusts. They've destroyed their homeland, and then they pick up like a swarm of locusts, and they move somewhere else, and they destroy that. Well, I have to tell you this. There's nowhere else to go.
Yeah. This
After
is
this.
it.
After you destroy this, there's nowhere else to go.
Well, there aren't many.
Where else are they going to go?
Good point. Now, the only good news is if they are so concerned that they want to make sure they get to have 7 or 8 abortions in their lifetime, maybe they'll have to go to New York and California and Illinois and where else they're going to make sure they can get all their abortions. So all the liberals will go to the abortion states. That might be the only good news, is that those states will never become Republican, and might as well get all the liberals up there, just go live there. So we'll get rid of you from here, just, move. No, it's a pipe dream, sure. Now,
I just say round them up. That's just
round them up, and there you go. President Joe Trouser Clam has done it again. Yes, my friends, this time overseas, so the foreign press could enjoy his spiral into dementia. I think we can all agree that since most people have a public school education, most people like Joe Snail Trail think that Sweden and Switzerland are probably the same thing as Scandinavia and the Netherlands, and so it should be. Do you know how? I guarantee you, it should be no surprise that President Erection Correction didn't know either. Like when in a foreign country, he got them confused like any other president really does. Flounder, if you would, sir, President Potato Head. There we go.
We got on the telephone. He suggested we call the leader of Switzerland. Switzerland, my goodness, I'm getting really anxious here about expanding NATO. Sweden.
My God, he's in a foreign country.
Of Switzerland.
And not only that, did you hear him bashing America and bashing the Supreme Court, mocking and ridiculing the highest court in the land on foreign soil, telling everybody how bad America is and it doesn't represent the country and has to be changed and overturned. Oh, my God, what's the matter with this guy? Well, we know what's the matter with him. Some of the reaction for his international audience reacting with glee: ice cream on the brain again. Or teleprompter broken? Granddad's drunk this time. No, Switzerland is where you hide your money. And when he doesn't have his cue cards, the world is laughing at him, and America, especially the dumbass voters who are voting for a babbling idiot. The leader of the free world. Time for a hook and a call to the bullpen. And don't forget,
the
big hook on a stick. He blasted our Supreme Court and the country on foreign soil. President Mass Murderer for killing those 53 people in the truck made himself a meme for what Tucker Carlson used to scream during the Russian agent fakery on Donald Trump. President Vijay at the podium once again was screaming and said, the reason we have these high food costs is Russia, Russia, Russia. And he said it just like that. Russia, Russia, Russia. He deliberately blamed them for the high food prices in America. He said because they're destroying the wheat fields in Ukraine. I'm dying. My head's coming off. I swear to God. I mean, I heard it. I heard him say it.
What kills me is that we're old enough to remember back in the 60s and 70s, the Bidens of the world and the Democrats are the one telling us the Russians are just like us.
Right.
But they were Soviets then. They're people just like us. Their system is just as valiant as ours.
Making a move.
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
We're going to have to learn to live with them. You can't beat them. And Reagan showed up and said, bullshit.
They were opening up
but they were the same ones telling us we had to live with them. We had to have détente. We had to do it. And now they're using them as the enemies like the Republicans did back in the 50s and 60s.
And asking for trouble. They're trying to get a war going.
He just said he's excited about expanding NATO, which is what Putin's greatest fear is.
Yeah, that's the reason he invaded Ukraine, was to make sure that, well, that was his justification, was because they were getting a little too uppity. He wanted to make sure NATO didn't.
We're not doing that. That's exactly what we're doing.
He didn't want more NATO on his western coast. Or western border. I mean, duh.
Which I'm all for expand. Believe me, I've wanted to expand NATO my whole life, but
call his bluff. What is he going to do? He's going to invade Europe?
He's crazy enough to nuke.
No, he's not. There'd be no. The first shot that's fired into Poland, or Finland or someplace, I guarantee
the Poles are ready to kick their ass.
Yeah, I guarantee you, if he fires a rocket into Warsaw, it's over. I mean, there'll be a hell to pay. Anyway,
how can this have gone on for this long?
Well,
somebody said, how could the Russian army not beat Ukraine?
Well, somebody said this is part of his plan. The only reason we don't get involved is it's not exciting, bing bang, hellacious war. It's a slow, grinding, overwhelming, like the Russians do. That's what they do.
And he abandoned the island they had, which was a strong point.
Snake Island.
Snake Island, and they abandoned that. Which apparently was part of his plan to just kind of keep it going little by little, so it just keeps dragging on, I guess.
Well, he claimed it was a goodwill gesture, but others say that they were bombing them so much they couldn't stay.
Nothing. Anyway, I don't.
And, they bomb it enough, it'll tip over.
Just like Guam.
If you put too many Russians on
your
there,
former congressman.
It'll tip over. Or sink.
Yeah,
we could sink it.
There you go. By the way, our friend Barry sent us a whole bunch of funny memes about not only Russia but Trump and so forth, and I want to share a few with you here. Let's see. Hold on a second. Here we go. Oh, no, wait a second.
Kimmer fumbling on his phone, brought to you by FarmhousePrintingCo.com of Sonoya. FarmhousePrintingCo.com, printing custom shirts, hats, signs, promotional items. No minimum order, no setup fees, and now with laser engraving. Get t-shirts, cups, signs, leather goods, your hand, whatever you have, whatever you stick in there, they'll print. FarmhousePrintingCo.com for all your Kimmer Show needs. And this week, if you order Kimmer Show merch,
that's right,
you get a free Kimmer Liberty Holiday whatever koozie. Koozie.
In fact, I was talking to Eric there, doing some emailing and texting with Eric at FarmhousePrintingCo.com this morning, and he reminds us that he can put the logo on some really cool, like a koozie on drinking cups and stuff. And I mean, there's all kinds of things they can do at FarmhousePrintingCo.com.
Oh yeah, and also Holy Crab and Sports stuff, whatever you want.
Yep, absolutely. Anyway, Flounder, how are we doing over there? We have to pausing here. Are we okay? Okay. Let's see. Anyway, a couple of funny memes going around concerning Donald Trump in the Beast and how he apparently or allegedly tried to attack the Secret Service and got over there to try to steer the vehicle himself to go to the riot, the mostly peaceful protest. The meme is Jussie Smollett. He of the famous fakery of 3 o'clock in the morning in an ice storm in Chicago at 30 below zero, suddenly wanted a Subway sandwich, so he was out at 3 in the morning and got attacked by 2 black guys who said this is MAGA country. Yeah, I'm sure that's a true story, Jussie. And of course, he got convicted for being a douchebag and everything else, and he's still doubling down on his story. But here's the meme as a picture of Jussie Smollett, and he says, he grabbed the steering wheel and said, this is MAGA country. Also, 6 more women have come forward with allegations that Donald Trump grabbed their steering wheels, ladies and gentlemen. It's just simply not fair. A couple of things from our friend Barry of that and other things. Glenn wrote, I long thought that Teddy Roosevelt, who delivered an hour-long speech after being shot in the chest, was the toughest president ever. Today I learned Donald Trump overpowered the Secret Service detail and hijacked the presidential limo. Wow, just wow. Brian Williams, Lion Brian Williams, who got fired for being a liar about how much he was in combat when he was overseas. Brian Williams. So there I was in the back of the presidential SUV. Another couple of funny memes. This one's of Clarence Thomas. Boy, are they trying to destroy Clarence Thomas by the left. Holy smokes. I mean, because of his abortion
He's
thing.
off the plantation.
Yeah, why would they? I guess because he's black and they just. But he's been there for 20 years. I
Did
mean,
you
what's
see
the,
what Hillary Clinton said about him? Someone was interviewing, and she said that she went to law school with him, and that he was a very resentful person.
Yeah, we mentioned that a couple of days ago, but not only the problem was that she went to the same law school, but she wasn't there with him. I think she knew who he was, but she didn't go in the same classes with him. And they were different years. So I mean, she made it sound as though I know him so well. I mean, he was like this all through law school. And she doesn't know about it.
Sotomayor, who works with him every day, says he's one of the nicest guys.
He's a great guy
to deal with.
Yeah,
So.
terrific guy. Anyway, there's a picture of Clarence Thomas smiling like crazy, and it says, "Well, men will think twice before getting pregnant now, boy." Let's see. Here's one. Ghislaine Maxwell. Picture her, and it says, Ghislaine Maxwell, 1961 to next week or so.
You know, she got less of a sentence than R. Kelly.
I know. She got 20 years. He got 30.
How does that happen?
By the way, not only that, but I mean, I'm glad to see it, but these crimes get more than most murderers. I mean, you know, people in manslaughter, killing people, stuff, you got 8, 12 years, stuff like that. 30 years and 20 years. I mean, again, the other ones should get more too. But
The place where he held some of the women wasn't far at all from my parents' house. It was in Johns Creek.
Really? Yeah.
He was doing this in Johns Creek.
Yeah. Well, I remember a couple of years ago, one of the local women from here testified about how he used to treat her, and they wouldn't. He wouldn't let them leave the house. I mean, it was all kinds of kidnapping and forced. You know what? Let's see what else we got here. I don't know. Oh, here we go. Breaking. Roe versus Wade has been reinstated as Democrats find 150,000 Supreme Court votes at 2 in the morning. Anyway, we got a whole bunch of stuff here for the stuff. Let's go to another dead page. Now, the MacGyver situation. Remember a couple of years ago,
he always gets out of the situation, no matter what it is. MacGyver
always finds a way to use a bubblegum card as an unlocking key of some kind. He gets out of that the handcuffs underwater somehow with a straw. It's an incredible story. The Supreme Court has granted a new trial for Tex MacGyver, the Atlanta lawyer convicted of murdering his wife. And again, I never believed it. I just never believed it. They were in the car together. They had gone someplace. It was at night. They were driving home from their ranch in Putnam County. MacGyver was in the back seat. His wife was in the front passenger. Her best friend was driving. He asked for his .38 caliber pistol, which was in the center console, because he said, "I think we just drove through a Black Lives Matter protest, so give me my gun." It was in a plastic bag on his lap, sitting in the back seat behind his wife. The wife, Diane, his wife, said, told her husband, "Wake up, don't fall asleep." And he apparently was startled at that and shot a round through the back of the front seat into his wife's back. And the story goes on that he did not call 911, said instead, "Let's go to Emory Hospital where she died during surgery." They tried to make the claim that because he didn't even call 911 and he wanted to go all the way to Emory to make sure she got treated rather than the nearest hospital or something, he was trying to make sure she didn't live.
Because they were down by...
they weren't far from Grady or something.
They were by Piedmont Park is where they were.
Yeah.
And it would have been best just to go to Piedmont Hospital then.
I mean, but again, they tried to make that as one of the clues to show that he wanted her dead. But he fired a result. He said as a result of being startled awake. Anyway, they convicted him of murder, even though everybody testified that they were a loving couple. They never said a bad word about it. I mean, and in fact, the Supreme Court said that the jury should have been allowed to consider involuntary manslaughter, not murder. The jurors should have been given an opportunity to decide whether MacGyver was criminally negligent when he fired the shot, not only whether he killed her intentionally. The evidence of his guilt, the Supreme Court said the evidence of MacGyver's guilt was just not overwhelming or even strong. Indeed, the state's evidence of intent was weak. No witness testified to any disagreement or quarrel between MacGyver and Diane. Many witnesses testified how much they were very much in love. The state's evidence, which sought to show MacGyver had a financial motive to kill his wife, was nonsense. DA Fannie Willis, the coward of the county, that big yellow-bellied, chicken-livered fake whose first job in office was, anyway. She's got to decide now whether to proceed with another trial in the future. I'm assuming they will say no, since he's already been in jail for the couple of years that it happened. And maybe they'll just say, forget it, rather than try it again. Maybe they, I don't know.
So you agree? You think he was innocent?
I think he was innocent.
So I disagree. I thought he.
You thought he killed her on purpose?
Yeah. Come on.
That's not
Come
much
on.
of a good
That's
scheme,
a bad,
is it?
That's a bad day if that happens.
I
Steve.
mean,
Come on.
that's not really a very likely scenario to try. If you want to try to murder
And
your
I
wife, would
I
you do
also-
it with her best friend next to her and you're in the back seat of the
I
car?
also heard that they weren't all that loving a couple.
Well, I don't know.
It's interesting how the media I was listening to told a different story than the media you were listening to.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I heard the stories that they, they said, well, again, he didn't even want to go to the hospital, never called 911. So, I mean, it put the doubt, I would assume. But again, I can't believe there wasn't reasonable doubt by one juror. Not one juror had a reasonable doubt. I mean, doesn't it seem now that it seems a little doubtful?
Well, like us, they just assumed MacGyver was going to get out of it.
He could just get out of it if he wanted to. Obviously, the guy's clearly guilty.
It's amazing.
Anyway, I don't know anything. Let's see. Oh, the Supreme Court ruling, speaking of court cases, the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled for President Potato Head, saying he can kill the Trump-era initiative requiring asylum seekers to remain in Mexico. Well, that's over, so here they come.
Yeah.
More and more and more. And at the same time, we have our new Supreme Court Associate Justice, Justice TikTok Bippity Boppity, the woman who doesn't know what a woman is. How the hell could you not be able to define a woman? Honestly.
Good Morning America put this big thing out on Twitter. Here we are, the first black person ever on the Supreme Court.
Yeah. Well, no, really. We've had several.
Actually, the third, but
yeah, this will be number 3.
Who's counting?
Yeah, I mean, again, Thurgood Marshall. We just talked about Clarence Thomas. Anyway, but again, and she, what a joke. How could the follow-up question not be, how can you be a Supreme Court justice if you can't define a woman? How could you handle a case involving gender?
And they're saying that literally it was racist to ask her about her
Yeah.
previous rulings.
Right.
That's like asking a doctor it's going to be put on a board. Well, there you did some weird stuff with these people. You gave them some weird medicine and everything. Well, you can't ask him that.
Yeah. Everything is racist. That's how they get away with it.
And
That's how they got around the court.
And it was worse than what the false allegations against Kavanaugh about rape
Right.
were not as bad as asking this woman to
Right.
just explain her previous rulings.
Right. Right. It's just, again, it's all politics. It's divisive racial hatred politics. They're trying to divide us.
There's money to be made.
And they're still keeping black people as victims. I mean, honestly, it's offensive. Anyway, if it weren't for you white people, you blacks would be doing a lot better, Well, because you can't do it on your own, I mean, you don't have the capabilities.
Well, they can't find an ID anywhere.
Well, if you can't get an
Incapable of
ID,
that.
I mean, I know you don't have a phone because you don't have an ID. You can't vote because you don't have an ID. You don't have an apartment because you don't have an ID. You can't buy a car because you don't have an ID. You can't be on social media because you can't.
Speaking of ID,
Yeah.
I went and got a Fulton County library card the other day.
Oh, you did?
Because I'm researching a book and I needed a book that was $45 on Amazon.
Oh,
I'm not
wow.
paying $40. And I know they don't have it at Sandy Springs, but
Yeah.
maybe they'll
They
borrow
can get
it
it
from someplace
Can't-
like Maryland.
Don't
or
they have
something.
to get a book you order if you're a
they
librarian?
don't have to, but they know it. They find it.
Yeah, I'm
they
sure
can
they-
mail it or something like that.
Yeah.
And they said it could cost up. And he goes, "How much would you be willing to pay in case it's some cost?" I said, "Oh, probably up to $20." He goes, "Oh wow, no one ever says that much." It's $45 on Amazon. So anyway, so I get the card, and he says, "Well, by the way, they all had masks on. None of the kids in there, none of the people in there had masks on, but all the employees had masks on." And he's coughing the whole time. I
Oh,
don't know
boy.
if he was trying to, a little message there.
Yeah.
You
Where's
can
your
get
mask,
something.
mister?
Too bad you couldn't call Mr. Bookman.
Bugman's
died.
dead. Yeah. So anyway, he goes. Okay, you know anything about this? I haven't had a library card in 20 years out in Gwinnett. And he goes, well, you can check. How many books do you think I can check out between the three?
You're allowed to check at any one time.
Yeah.
You mean?
Give me a number.
I'll bet you it's like 10. I'll bet you it's 8 or 10.
Jennifer? 8.
I'm going to go 4.
4. All of you combined is not the amount.
How many?
50.
5
I can
0?
check out 50, and I can hold them some bitches for 3 months, keeping other people from reading
my
them.
God.
Just if I want to be a.
I had no idea.
Now, after 1 month, if somebody wants it, they'll call me and say, "Could you please bring the book back?"
Well, that's
no. But
I'll be
50.
damned. Well,
what am I going to do with 50
I
bucks?
can't imagine.
Read them.
Well, I'm going to go in there and just take all the
By
good
the
books
t-
and just leave them.
Even if you're reading one a day,
Flip
it's
everybody
taking.
off as I'm leaving.
Even if you read one a day, it's still 2 months to
I
get to the
know.
last one.
Who
Almost.
the hell reads 50 bucks? I mean, I read
You're not
a
gonna
bunch
read a
at the
book a
same
day.
time, but I can't read 50 in a
You
month.
can't read a book a day. I mean, a whole book a day.
It'd have to be like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
You'd
or
have to do
something.
nothing else. I mean,
Seriously. 50? What are you doing with 50?
I don't get it. Anyway, that's pretty freaking weird. Yeah, Mayor Pete Buttigieg, who's the transportation secretary, is launching $1 billion pilot program to get rid of our racist highways. Yeah, those racist roads, boy, we're going to have to make sure they're, diverted someplace else. Cities and states can apply for the federal $1 billion over 5 years to overcome the harm that roadways have done to make sure that no black people were able to drive their cars on them. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, he'll even include rapid transit bus lines to go to the disadvantaged neighborhoods so they can go to their jobs. They'll have green spaces on top of highways, bike lanes, pedestrian walkways for safe crossings into the black neighborhoods, apparently. And the grants will be under a bipartisan infrastructure law. Sorry. Racist roads. Dear God. And speaking of racists, like all of us in this room, Jennifer, you're white, therefore you're a racist. Sorry to tell you that, sweetie. It's over. There's a warrant out now for the arrest of one of the accusers of Emmett Till. 1955, there was a warrant charging a white woman in 1955 over the evidence of kidnapping of Emmett Till. The woman's name is Carolyn Donham, and the warrant for her arrest was just discovered by researchers in a file folder in a county clerk's office in Mississippi. So now the survivors in the family of Emmett Till are demanding that this woman be served with the 1955 arrest warrant. The arrest warrant, at the time of the slaying, this woman Donham was married to one of the two white men who was tried and found innocent after Till was abducted, killed, and dumped into a river. Donham apparently set the case off in August 1955 by accusing the 14-year-old Emmett Till of making improper advances at a family store in Money, Mississippi. A cousin of Till who was there has said Till whistled at a white woman. The woman, possibly Donham, identified Emmett Till to the men who killed him. The sheriff at the time said, "I don't want to bother her. She's got 2 young kids at home." She's still alive. She's in her 80s, living in North Carolina, and the family of Emmett Till wants her arrested and charged with murder. They can't prove that was her.
That's the exact same story we did last year at this time.
Yeah.
This isn't something new. They did this exact same thing last year.
They bring it out, and there's an Emmett Till story. I'll bet you every, 3 months, 4 months? Yeah. And for a while, Pete, we remember this, it was almost every Sunday. One of the Sunday paper is a joke. I mean, the Sunday newspaper at AJC is just ridiculous. It's all feature stories and wire service stuff. I mean, it's really ridiculous. But every Sunday they would have an Emmett Till or a racist lynching update story.
There's 3 stories AJC lives for. Emmett Till, the temple bombing, and the hanging and lynching of Leo Frank.
Oh, Leo Frank, that's right. It's the other one.
It's like Ron Husband's spring on Peachtree with the girls walking in their dresses. It's every year. It's the exact same story. Evergreen, baby.
I know. Well, bring it out again, baby. It's August.
It's July 1st, and Emmett Till's back.
Emmett Till's back. Oh, my God.
I'm sorry it happened to him, and it sucked, and it's a horrible thing.
It was horrible.
But my God, it was 70 years ago.
It was 1955, yeah. And it was bad, and it'll always be bad.
What's going on in Chicago right now is worse.
Well, how about New York? A 20-year-old woman pushing her baby carriage with a 3-month-old baby in her baby carriage. A guy walks up behind her and shoots her in the head and kills her and disappears. And the mayor of New York is saying, "Oh, we need to stop this national crime wave." Excuse me? I believe that'd be a New York City crime wave first, if you don't mind. Anyway. Be sure to catch our next episode of Hatred in America, Why White People Are So Dangerous and Why We'll Never Have a Black President. because America is such a racist place to live. Oh, by the way, speaking of racist place to live, two things were fairly amusing just recently. In the news the other day, they were listing the top cities for violence in America.
Yeah.
Atlanta's one of them.
Hot damn.
However, check this
We're
out.
number 3 with a bullet.
With a bullet and many bullets in 9mm. And ironically, just out is a list of the 10 best places to retire in America. They took into metrics such as affordability, cost of living, taxpayer friendliness, activities, golfing, art galleries, per capita, quality of life, weather, healthcare for elderly, vaccination rates, public hospitals, stuff like that. They put all these things together, and they come up with a list of the 10 best places to live. Number 10 best place to live and retire in your golden years in America is Atlanta, Georgia. I don't think I'm of retirement
anymore.
age. There's no way I'd pick Atlanta to retire in.
Not anymore. You have to have money. If you have
why,
money.
That's why Bortz left. Remember,
Yeah.
because he retired in Buckhead, and he was like, I'm out of here.
Naples, yeah.
For the record, number 9, Miami. Number 8, Fort Lauderdale. This is retirement of age.
Ridiculous.
Number 7 is Cincinnati.
Well, it's cheap in Cincinnati.
It had healthcare, quality life, but it's cheaper, and there are museums, stuff like that. Denver was number 6.
Yeah.
Although, Jennifer, tell the folks what's going on in Denver now about people everywhere you go. We were talking about the homeless camps and so forth. What do you see in Denver these days? Where's your mic? There you go.
Use your words.
I always forget. They're not very particular in Denver. When I used to live in Harrisburg, you cannot even take a nap on a bench without the cops moving you out of the city. And in Denver, there's places that they have moved the homeless camps, but there are grocery baskets filled with stuff on every street in Denver. People panhandling on every street, and the cops just drive by and don't do anything. And I am, of course, a mental health advocate, and this isn't necessarily, I don't share the opinion of most of you in this room, or all of you, but
No, true, yeah. But you work with mental. You're a counselor for mental health problems.
Yes,
People, so.
but Denver, considering that nobody can afford to rent and or buy homes there because everything is so astronomical, and yet the streets are pretty unsafe.
Haven't they taken over the public parks? They're all the public parks are all homeless camps, and Denver's allowing it to happen. Is that going bad? Yeah. Sorry about that. Anyway, but again, and you can be a little nervous. You have a walker, and you're vulnerable, and I know you must be nervous or
Well, I'm nervous because I don't have a mic, but because I have a big mouth. So
She also, she doesn't take any crap off people too. So
She gets it honest.
I don't know where you got that from. Anyway,
Well, that's another thing that Congress won't do anything about, how you have 4 or 5 corporations that have bought up all the land and property and are raising the prices on stuff. It's not like there's 20 companies owning all these condos and stuff. It's not. It's like 4 or 5.
Yeah. A couple of bizarre things in the news I wanted to share with you. If I could, here we go. Check this out. Now, again, we've been talking about UFOs. Also, the other day, somebody came out and said that the story we talked about recently, where there were 100 UFOs swarming around and doing various things that people tried to identify, and someone said it was likely that they were military drones. And then the comment was, well, that might be even worse, because that might give some kind of proof to the theory that the Chinese had developed those teeny little drones that can go they can jump around like water bugs and mosquitoes and fly around anywhere you want, and talk about not being able to fight them. Anyway, I'm talking about UFO stuff. Here's what happened when someone has just taken pictures of the moon, our moon.
Yeah.
And apparently a mystery rocket crashed into the moon.
It's Blofeld. What was the name of this?
Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Spectre.
Nobody exploring space, no nation who has rockets that can go has said, no, that wasn't us. Nobody's claimed responsibility, but you can see the crater it produced, and it's huge. It was a double crater, which means it was not your average rocket. It was something really, really huge, and nobody on Earth is claiming responsibility for sending a rocket to the moon. One guy says, "Oh, I know. They found the ball that Albert Pujols hit off Brad Lidge." Remember that from like 10 years ago? And I don't think it's still rising. I don't think
Jorge Soler hit.
I think they served food on that flight. Mystery rocket crashing into the moon, and nobody's talking about it. One guy says it's Dr. Evil. Clearly,
Blofeld.
they have the pictures, but again, there's nobody is claiming responsibility for causing the rocket. I assume it was a rocket
How
crash.
can a rocket that big leave Earth without anybody knowing it?
I don't get it. Again, it's probably a UFO. It's probably one of our unidentified space objects.
Elon Musk has been awful
Or
quiet
him.
lately.
Well, maybe he sent it up there. I don't. Again, he has not been in the news in a week.
Was it maybe that car he put out in space has finally crashed into the moon?
That's very possible. I don't know. Anyway, I thought that was
He
pretty
hasn't
bizarre.
tweeted in like 3 weeks.
Yeah. Anyway, one more meme coming out about the January 6th meeting. A picture of the California Raisins. Apparently, they're going to testify at the Ashley Babbitt January 6th mostly peaceful protest hearing to say they heard it through the grapevine, ladies and gentlemen. So that's fine.
Yeah, I saw a commercial the other day.
It's
a long way to
Even
go
Jennifer
for that
didn't
one.
like that one. Yeah,
That's a groan from the audience there.
There's a lot of groaning on that issue.
I saw a commercial a few days ago. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Jack Daniels is coming out with a canned JD and Cola.
Didn't you tell me? Didn't you say someone said it was great? Or the
I
other
did-
things
I-
you were saying
in
it
the
was
80s, they had Jim Beam and Coke. I don't know if they still have it in a 6-pack. And it was
Didn't
great.
you say it was great?
It
Yeah,
was
that it was
wonderful.
perfect combination.
Could
It was-
you go on the beach with it? It was perfect.
I don't know how could it not? I guess when you put the booze in the Coke, it destroys most of the fizzy effervescence.
Not
but
if you put it in
it's
the
in
can.
the can, it's
no,
got
in the can, it keeps it.
It does keep it.
Oh, yeah, it's still fizzy when it comes out. Yeah.
See, that's what's amazing to
That's
me.
amazing to me. And now JD and Cola's, they've got them out. They've only 30 years behind Jim
Yeah.
Beam, but
In fact, I just finished watching the one of the History Channel series on the booze, bets, and sex that made America or whatever, and it was about Jack Daniel and his company and the Duke family that made Lucky Strikes, cigarettes, and so forth in the early days and all that kind of stuff. I just finished all that kind of stuff. It was pretty cool, interesting stuff. Okay, hold on a second. Wait till you hear about what happened in the home of a Cayuga County woman. Also, Eminem is in the news, and so is Spotify, and I don't understand any of it, and I don't really care. Plus, you're going to hear a famous sound of a famous disc jockey. Just to kind of look back in history for a second. But first, let's say you're out with your buddies, and you're waiting.
buddies. Every time.
Walking into it.
And you get a call, and it's not your gun store. It's your personal arms dealer, Dead Crow Defense. Dead Crow Defense for patriots like you and me. Again, this is an arms dealer, not a gun store. You're out with your buddies, and you say, it's here. What you were looking for, they got it for you, because they don't scoff at Dead Crow Defense. When you're looking for, if you want that 9mm ammo or a 7.62, whatever you're looking for, a 38 caliber or 50 cal, whatever it is, they can, all the hard-to-find stuff, they'll get it for you. Dead Crow Defense makes firearm, suppressor, ammunition, and gear sales easy and painless, like old-fashioned personalized customer service. Quality products, obviously. And by the way, if you're looking for a suppressor, it hasn't been this easy to purchase a suppressor since the 30s. Wait maybe 65 days on average, where other people waiting months and months and months. Online, deadcrowdefense.com for in-stock items shipped the next day. And if you're in a pinch, here's a phone call. 678-576-9117. You can also shoot them an email, sales@deadcrowdefense.com. So your address is deadcrowdefense.com or sales@deadcrowdefense.com to get your personal arms dealer reaching out to you directly to talk about what you need and how they're going to get it to you. Be sure to tell them the Kimmer sent you, would you please? A sponsor of our Kimmer Show podcast, your arms dealers, Dead Crow Defense. Yeah, back to the thing. Jennifer, do you know who Eminem is? Were you ever a fan of Eminem?
He's in recovery. So
He's in recovery. Jennifer, as a recovering cocaine and heroin addict, I mean, a crack addict or whatever. Did you ever do crack, or was it mostly it was cocaine? But did you ever do speedballs or anything like that? Yes. You did speedballs?
My ODs were because
Your ODs were on speedballs. Huh? Wow.
But I could, not to brag, cook the
Oh, we can't quite hear her, but.
perfect.
You keep asking her questions.
Well, I know it's stupid. I forgot she doesn't have the mic over there anymore. Anyway,
Anyway, yeah, I loved crack.
yeah,
That
did
was
crack
oh
and
my God.
speedballs and all that. We didn't know for years whether you were dead or alive, and
I know, but I knew you were looking for me.
you did what?
I knew the people were looking for me.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thank God you're clean and clear for 18 years.
It'll be 18 years in October.
What? How many?
It'll be
18 in October. October 5th, I think, or 6th, 5th or 5th.
You have to speak up. He's deaf.
Yeah, I'm deep. Yeah, what a pair. Anyway, so this guy Eminem, I mean, I know who he is, but I had no idea this was a thing. The real Slim Shady has stood up more than 1 billion times. The real Slim Shady, Eminem's 2000 hit, has surpassed the 1 billion streams on Spotify. Dr. Dre produced the smash, M's 4th song to cross Spotify's 1 billion milestone after Lose Yourself, Till I Collapse, and Without Me. Love the Way You Lie is his duet with Rihanna. And 2020's Godzilla has almost a billion streams. Grammy Award for Best Rap Solo Performance, The Real Slim Shady. The video's racked up 700 million views on YouTube. Eminem's the song is his playful middle finger to the sudden fame he found a year earlier when he tossed into the pop music playpen a host of others whom he name-checks in the song, like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera. His song, Billions Club, includes 267 songs. Well, anyway, whatever. Now, this is a bizarre story, and I pass it along because you need to know people like this are out there. Coweta County, 2 o'clock in the morning. Police were driving along, and a car coming at them failed to dim its high beam headlights. So the deputy in Coweta County turned his car around, followed the vehicle, and put on his lights and tried to stop it. The vehicle took off. 2 o'clock in the morning, high-speed chase. The high-speed chase reached speeds of 130 miles an hour in an Acura.
Amateurs.
130. Yeah, let them get a real car. 130 miles an hour. Eventually, the vehicle went out so fast that they lost sight of it. And then the deputy kept going down in that area where we last saw the car and saw a guy standing in a yard, pulled over and said, "Have you seen a speeding vehicle?" And the guy said, "Yeah, well, one just went through here a minute ago and I heard a crash." So the deputy went to where the guy said he thought he heard the crash, and son of a gun, there was the car crashed into a house. Unfortunately and tragically, the crash into the house killed a 56-year-old woman named Annette Rush. The driver now faces vehicular homicide. The house was basically destroyed. The whole front end was just falling apart and everything else. This woman was a kind, gentle woman. She has a child in a wheelchair that she doted over to take care of her family all this time. Her family and everybody else always take care of everybody. And the person at the wheel, 2 o'clock in the morning, doing 130 miles an hour in a police chase is 14. 14. It's not one world, my friends. I mean, that's just incredible. Okay, now, quick thing, Holy Crap at Sports. You've already done it, but it's the best podcast, Sportscast in America.
Happy Bobby Bonilla Day, by the way.
Bobby Bonilla. What's the deal on him? What's the deal on him?
Every year on this date, the New York Mets cut him a check. How much is it? $1.7 million for like the next 50 years.
And
it's
it was
unbelievable.
because he signed it like in the 90s or something. Was it 91 or 2 or somewhere? It had to be 30 years.
2000s, yeah.
20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And he did it when
He deferred it.
What's that?
He deferred his payments.
Yeah. And I think Milton Berle did that. I think Milton Berle, if I'm not mistaken, it's off the top of my head, Milton Berle, I believe, when he did the Texaco Playhouse or whatever it was, was the first person to sign a long-term contract with CBS or whoever the company was, at NBC, Blue Network, whatever it was, the company signed a long-term contract, and it was something like for 20 or 30 years, and no one had ever heard of such a thing. And he said, I just assumed, we'll do it this way, and it worked. Obviously, it was successful, but he was the first one to do it, I believe, was Milton Berle. Anyway, a couple things in the sports. You mentioned the USC and UCLA are in the process of leaving the Pac-12 for the Big Ten because they're so close in California. Also, some sad news. The voice of Truist Park since 2007, Casey Motter, the Braves' public address announcer, has died. We didn't give the cause of death, but he was the voice of Truist Park. He lived in Smyrna, was a PA announcer for his son's youth football games in Peachtree City. Frank Wren, the former Braves assistant GM, heard him at a game and said, "How'd you like to be part of the Braves crew of announcing?" He said, "Sure." He said, "I try to do the same thing for the Braves players that I do in youth league football. I pump up each one of their names when they come to the plate. It's my passion now." Anyway, he passed away. Casey Motter passed away. It doesn't even give his age, I don't think, but it doesn't say what happened. But our condolences. And
he died in his sleep. I know that.
Well, that's the only way to do it. Anyway,
there's other ways.
Well, there's lots of ways to do it in the saddle or anyplace else. Anyway, a couple of historical notes. First of all, Flounder, would you hit the sound of a famous person who was in our history note here today, if you would, sir?
Kipper?
No, okay, I remember. I shouldn't have said. When I think Ronald Reagan, I think the Gipper, and I wasn't even thinking of the movie. I read it. It was just, that's what I called him.
Funny.
Anyway, it's still, we played it, so you'll have to be part of the action here. Anyway, here we go. All right.
We got to close it out. That's it for the Wolfman Jack Show for tonight.
Again, I love you. But
we got
I
to
didn't hear
close
anything.
it out. That's it for the Wolfman Jack Show for tonight.
Wolfman Jack. Well, anyway, Wolfman. Well, that's all right. This day in 1995, Wolfman Jack died. The legendary disc jockey was 57 years old. He had just come home from a promotional tour, had been away from his family to tour and to promote his new autobiography, Have Mercy. Wolfman Jack, after his long tour and finally got home, walked into his house, hugged his wife, and said, quote, "Oh, it is so good to be home." And Wolfman Jack, at that moment, literally died in his wife's arms.
Huh.
It's good to be home.
Damn.
And died in his wife's arms. That was 1995. Others who died on the same day, different years perhaps, but same day, Marlon Brando was 80 when he died. Walter Matthau died the same day, 79. Luther Vandross died the same day, age 54. Michael Landon died the same day, also age 54, from pancreatic cancer. And Flounder's historical writer guy said, quote, "Same thing that took Patrick Swayze. What does pancreatic cancer have against guys with glorious mullets?" Jennifer does. He's sort of a weird guy. This guy who does the history notes. In 1969, John Lennon and Yoko and the family were in a car wreck in Scotland. Both John Lennon and Yoko had to be hospitalized. Later on, Lennon had the car crushed into a cube and displayed it on his lawn at Tittenhurst Park. 2004, Glenn Campbell began serving 10 days in jail, followed by 2 years of probation for a drunk driving hit-and-run conviction. Glenn Campbell was 68 at the time, and he was also sentenced to 75 hours of community service and a fine of $900. That was 2004. I wonder if that was after he was on my show. He was on... God, he was such a great guest. I won't dwell on it, but he brought his... Well, I mean, it's important. He was a great guest. He brought his guitar, and he was great. And he talked about his whole life and his drugs. And who's that little cutie little singer girl country star? Tanya Tucker. And how he was just a great guest. One of the nicest men I've ever met, especially as a celebrity.
There's 4 songs that can make me cry, and he's got 2 of them.
Rhinestone Cowboy?
No. No.
Well, I used to sing that when Jennifer was a baby, and so was Sarah. Whenever we would be in the cars back in the 70s, and they were little kids, when Rhinestone Cowboy came on with Glenn Campbell, we would all sing it together. You won't even remember that.
But-
Of course I do. I still remember
Do you?
every freaking word.
Yep, there you go. Anyway, what were you thinking? What are your sad songs by Glenn Campbell?
Galveston and
General on My Mind?
and I'm lineman for the county. Wichita lineman.
Well, I'm before. By the time I get to Phoenix, she'll be gone.
It's not, it's not really the songs, which are sad songs,
Yeah.
kind of. It's just what was going on when I was hearing them. We were always coming back from summer vacation. It was always chilly and rainy coming back. You're coming back for school,
Yeah.
and you're leaving your summer behind, playing on the farm and with your friends and everything. It was just sad.
Did Webb write that? What's the name? Webb write that song? He wrote "Gentle on My." He wrote a bunch of
wrote a lot
those
of-
for
not James.
Well, beautiful. You know, the song "Gentle on My Mind." I almost never listen to actual
great
words.
song.
It's the words. I mean, it's a beautiful lyric. It's really a beautiful, beautiful song. You know, forever gentle, forever through the golden valleys of the gentle, or whatever it is. I mean, it's just really, really, really well done. But 2002. I'm sorry. First 2001. 2001 on this very day, Ronnie Wood was commissioned to paint a group portrait of the Rolling Stones, paint a group portrait of the regular diners who showed up at the place called the Ivy, a West End London restaurant. And somebody commissioned Ronnie Wood of the Rolling Stones to paint a portrait.
He's a great painter.
Great artist.
In fact, he just put a photo out when they played Milan,
Yeah.
and he went to the Last Supper, and he's got him making a face.
And the rest,
Like, hey,
cool. Well, among the pop stars in his portrait at this West End London restaurant are Pet Shop Boy Neil Tennant and Elton John. 2002, not to be outdone, Paul McCartney designed, on this day in 2002, designed 6 postage stamps that went on sale in the Isle of Man. Proceeds went to the Adopt a Minefield charity. I've always wanted a minefield. I should probably try to get one.
where do you get those?
Well, I could probably
It's
make
kind of
one.
like when you buy a star for a girlfriend
I
or
think
something.
I have a star. I have a star. My little
I
friend
do too.
Gretchen got me a star for my birthday. Let's see.
Is it
1916.
near Uranus?
It's damn near my 1916, World War I. Hell. World War I, 1916. On this day, English soldiers waited for the horrendous bombing to stop on the no man's land between German and English troops in the Somme region of France. It was the first battle to use tanks. The Brits expected little resistance, but the forebearers of the American Democrat Party, the Nazis, had other ideas. Their mounds of machine guns rained lead, and by the end of the day, 20,000 British soldiers were killed, 40,000 wounded that day. The fighting raged for 4.5 months. The offensive was finally stopped. They gave up, but not until 600,000 British and French soldiers were dead or wounded. 600,000 for one piece of land.
Wasn't that the amount of Union and Confederate soldiers killed during the 4-year war?
Yeah. The worst military decision in military history until Joe Goopshoot became our, dear God, disgraceful
out of
commander-in-chief.
Left $85 million.
1963, the post office started with a zip code in 63. 1863, the first day of fighting at Gettysburg. In 1898, during the Spanish-American War, and by the way, I just finished the series on Teddy Roosevelt. Very interesting.
I couldn't watch it.
You could not watch
I
it?
couldn't watch it.
Why?
I cannot stand the fact that every time they do something like this, they prop out that rotting corpse of Doris Kearns Goodwin.
Oh, God.
a
The
known
cheater, the perjurer, plagiarist,
There's
yeah.
nothing worse for an author and an historian to be caught stealing somebody else's work like she was caught stealing.
Yeah.
And yet she gets a pass because
She's a girl and a historian, and she's well
No,
known.
no,
and
because
respect-
she's a Democrat.
She's a
she
Democrat,
Gets
yeah.
a pass.
In fact,
And they drag her out for every one of these things. And not only that, she was every 5 seconds she's talking.
Yeah. And she's all over the baseball series, too.
Oh, it's
she's one of the
horrible.
historians on the baseball series, the past
Her
time.
and the Mike Barnacles of the world, because they have a certain
Barnacle got caught.
mindset,
Yeah.
can get job after job after job because they think the right way.
Yeah.
But they're cheaters and
Yeah.
plagiarists.
How can well, hell, Joe Biden was a plagiarist, got caught, 30
multiple
Yeah,
times.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, but I finished that series on the Rough Riders, and this was the day in 1898 when Teddy Roosevelt and the Rough Riders waged that victorious assault on San Juan Hill in Cuba. 1943, Uncle Sam started automatically withholding federal income tax from paychecks. 1979, Susan B. Anthony finally got her $1 coin, which was pretty much a quarter or a half dollar, and nobody had them, and they lost them or forgot. Have you seen a Susan B. Anthony? Nobody wanted that.
A $2 bill,
who
which
wanted,
made sense, but there wasn't room in the cash drawer.
Yeah, it was, they couldn't make another slot for it.
There wasn't room.
Yeah, I mean, plus it looked like a quarter or a half. It was a bigger quarter or a small half dollar.
Well, the $2 was a bill.
And the $2 thing was a bill, but the Susan B. Anthony was the coin.
And you mistook it for other coins.
Yeah, it was just stupid. 1951 on the sports beat there, Pete. Bob Feller. But here's an old country boy. He has an attitude about various things that may not be particularly woke in this day and age. He used to anyway. He may. I think he's probably changed a little bit.
No, he's dead.
But he was.
He's dead.
He was not your. He was an old boy there from way back there. He was an old farm boy. Bob Feller set a major league record when he threw his third no-hitter in 1951.
We tied two other guys who had done it before.
Well, he set the record in that.
Way back.
Let's see. Some birthdays. Jamie Farr will always be Klinger to me. 88 years old today.
That's all he ever
MASH.
was.
That's all he ever was. Well, he showed up in a couple things, but he was never anything other than Klinger. Dan Aykroyd, who does not know how to do a Southern accent from Miss Daisy. Miss Daisy. Dan Aykroyd, he tried. He's 70 today. Mama. Yeah, Mama.
The man's from either Canada or Detroit. He had no chance.
I don't understand.
That
I
was
think
such
it's from
a good.
Canada.
That was a great movie. I thought.
That was a great movie.
Pamela Anderson is 55. Never did anything for me because of all the fake.
When she was young, she was good.
Well, yeah, I mean, she had to
80s.
look. I'll tell you who did do something for me. Leah Seydoux. That French chick.
I started watching again last night, the Bond film, and there are times where she's not hot, but there's times at the beginning of that she's in a white dress.
Go back a
she's
few
hot.
years. Leah Seydoux is 37. Seydous. Leah Seydoux. She was in Inglourious Bastards at the very beginning, one of the daughters in the movie Inglourious Bastards, and she was also the queen in Robin Hood with Russell Crowe version of Robin Hood. Stunning.
Yeah, she's a
Just
beautiful woman.
stunning. Leslie Caron, still around, 91.
Wow. Now, that's a good-looking woman.
Yeah.
Leslie Caron.
Genevieve Bujold, remember her?
Yeah.
Was that Burt Reynolds girl act with her? And what was the one where I remember her naked in bed, standing over a man in bed, and I can't remember the name. It was like something about the man. I remember the name of the movie, but Genevieve Bujold is 80 today. Blondie Debbie Harry is 77. Wow. Is that unbelievable? How does that? I guess she was in the 80s. That's 40 years ago.
Singing Blondie songs.
70s,
She sang
80s.
Blondie songs
So they played CBGBs,
in New Orleans
which was
in the
more
70s.
in the 70s.
Yeah, Jennifer just said 70s.
She did the first rap song, really. She had rap in one of her songs.
Yeah. She's blind. 77
Rapture.
today.
The Rapture, yeah.
Let's see.
She used to play Harlow's. Blondie played Harlow's on Memorial Drive.
Really?
Yeah, back in the let's say either 79 or 80, I was there, and she was playing
I'll
Harlow's,
be damned.
which was a
I had no idea. A Flounders guy mentioned a little something pretty funny here on.
Well, we've talked about this before. I was in the greatest bar of all time was Uncle Tom's Cabin on Memorial Drive, the largest Budweiser distributor in the eastern United States. They sold more
Really?
Budweiser than everybody. There was 2 floors to this place. It was an old restaurant they turned into a huge bar.
I don't remember that.
Not only 2 for Tuesday, 4 for Tuesday.
Whoa, boy.
I'm telling you, we could go there and get a plate of nachos, and we'd be hammered in 15 minutes because they gave us 4 drinks.
Wow.
And it was like $5 or something like that.
Wow.
So we're in there one night, and the floor is shaking. The floor is absolutely shaking. I go, who the hell is downstairs? Because the band's downstairs. She goes, oh, it's some band, Blue Oyster Cult or something. It's Blue Oyster Cult. So I'm listening to a baseball game the other day, and they're still around.
They're
and
still
they were
playing.
playing someplace up in Seattle or something.
I'll be damned. Yeah, that's 40 years ago.
Oh, my God, that was like 1980.
Yeah.
They were in Uncle Tom's
Wow.
cabin because they were already washed up then.
Oh, man. I was saying the Flounders history guy, a birthday guy, wrote this down about Liv Tyler. Is 45 today. her daddy, Steven Tyler, the singer, had her star in Aerosmith's video for Crazy, where she stripped and engaged in some naughty hijinks with Alicia Silverstone.
She's a beautiful
I
woman.
didn't know she was. Oh, she's not older than me.
She,
Forgetting I'm old.
Steven just relapsed, by the way.
yeah, that's right. He had to
canceled the
apologize
tour.
to his audience and band.
Yeah, had to
he's
cancel
back in
half the
rehab.
tour.
Vegas, it's not. It's Vegas.
Was it
aren't
a
they?
residency?
Yeah.
Yeah. Carl
Can you
Lewis.
believe that bands like Aerosmith now are just becoming a residency?
Which they show in the movie, the Elvis movie. That's what killed Elvis. But now they all want to do that.
Yeah.
Because it's easy.
It is
You're not
very
on the
easy.
road. I mean, but at the same time, think about living on the road for 20 years, living on a bus.
I know it sucks.
Well, not only that, but living with
Well,
groupies
yeah, I mean,
and fans and people who do anything just to be with you and
groupies
stuff.
are
Like,
okay.
Yeah, it must really suck. Jeez.
horrible way to live.
Sex in every city. Yeah.
Our birthdays include Carl Lewis, 61 years old. He has 10 Olympic medals, and 9 of them are gold.
Finished his career here in '96.
That's right, at our Atlanta Olympics. Wally, was it the long jump or the long jump?
I think
What's
at
the
that
last
point,
thing he
that's
did? I
what
think it
he
was the
was-
long jump, wasn't it?
That's what he was doing.
Wally Amos, known as Famous Amos, the chocolate chip cookie guy, is
They
86
were okay.
today.
They weren't great.
I never liked him that much. I'm not a big fan of store-bought cookies because I like soft,
Chips
moist,
Ahoy, come
warm.
on, Chips Ahoy.
Yeah, but I don't like crispy cookies.
Yeah, but Famous Amos is in all
The what?
Famous Amos in all the vending machines in all the hospitals.
That's true.
All the hospitals have Famous Amos, Jennifer saying, and vending machine. I'm sorry we can't hear you over there again, but
Yeah,
can you still see her? She all right? I was just checking. Let's see, one more birthday. Alan Ruck is 66. You don't know who that is.
No, I
I'm
don't.
surprised you don't know that.
Alan Ruck.
You will know this as soon as I start talking the thing. He was Cameron in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh.
His high school buddy, Cameron.
Oh, the nerd. Yeah.
The nerd who was sick and didn't want to get out of bed, and Ferris went to get him. And he had his father's Ferrari and all that stuff.
Well, wait, now I want a Ferrari. Was it either Thunderbird or a Corvette?
No, it was a Ferrari.
Was it a Ferrari?
Yeah.
I thought that was the open. The open one was a Ferrari. The convertible.
Yeah, it was a Ferrari.
I did not- okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
He was Cameron in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He was 29 years old when he played the high school student. He was 29, and he played it with Mia Scarapacciello,
She was so.
otherwise
she's still
known
beautiful.
as Mia Sarah.
She's still beautiful. She's a
She's
beautiful woman.
gorgeous. Mia Sarah Pocciello is her real name. Mia Sarah. Right now, in fact, I Googled her too. She's a beautiful, grown, handsome woman. She's a mom. She's married, has kids, and she's a writer. And she did a couple acting things after Ferris Bueller's Day Off. She was so beautiful,
she
just
was beautiful.
stunning in her. I mean, she just had that sweetest
face.
I mean, then she just had the sweetest face, the look about her, her expression.
Her and Phoebe Cates were just.
And Phoebe
at the
Cates on
time,
that diving
unbelievable.
board. Was that the Phoebe I'm thinking of?
I just thought her face
anyway.
was beautiful. She didn't have much up
Anyway, good for her.
Well,
all right.
I got a couple things here.
All right, sir.
1859.
Yeah.
All right. In the first college baseball game ever played,
All right.
Amherst defeated their arch rival,
MIT or Williams.
Williams.
My brother's alma mater, Williams College, hardest school in America to get into.
The score 73-32.
73 to 4.
It was played under Massachusetts rules. They played on a square field, no foul territory. It took place near the corner of North Street and Maplewood Avenue in
in
Watts
Williamstown,
City, in Pittsfield, Massachusetts.
No kidding.
Now I'm not going to ask you if you remember the game, but
I've been there.
Have you been at the corner of North Street and Maplewood?
Yes, I have.
What's there, by the way?
Well,
We
a
should
little
Google
shops
it.
now, but that's not far from Wacona Park, which is where the minor league baseball team was when I was growing up as a kid, where we used to watch George Scott, Reggie
Yeah.
Scott,
Great.
Tony Conigliaro. Who was the guy who got the eye-blinded baseball?
Tony Conigliaro.
No.
That was Tony. Yeah, and his brother was
that
Billy.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. And I mean, all those Red Sox guys. It was also a Mets farm club team too. So all those guys coming up, we used to watch it. And they lived in apartments and they worked at shoe stores and stuff. I mean, really unbelievable back then.
It was today that Cal Ripken replaced your boy Mark Bellinger at shortstop.
That's right. In fact, of course, his name is Bellinger. Kurt Gowdy started calling him Belanger, and that's what stuck. Is Mark Belanger, as I used to say him on the TV, but his name is Mark Bellinger. And I mean, I played baseball against him when he was a senior, and I was either in 8th or 9th grade. and an all-star team, and I played baseball against Mark Ballinger. So there you are.
So I'm putting together my This Date in History for my podcast earlier.
All right.
And I got one of the shocks of my life last night.
Yeah.
So I'm going down there. In 1910, a gentleman by the name of Glenn Hardin was born. He won Olympic gold at the Berlin 1936 Olympics in the 400-meter hurdles. He was born in Durham, Mississippi, which is where my grandparents lived and where I spent my summers. My grandmother, her maiden name was Hardin. I'm related.
My God.
I'm related to this guy who died in 1975. Never heard of him. Okay.
No kidding.
I was 14 years old when he died. I could have talked to this guy who saw Hitler.
Yeah.
He was
ran in front of Hitler in the Olympics.
This
in
is
Germany.
a town so small. It's not as large as this apartment complex. Okay. It's not even got a stoplight. You just go right through it. And this guy was from there, and I'm related to him, and nobody ever mentioned this.
How's that possible?
Well, by that time,
your
I
famous
guess he was
athlete who
forgotten.
played with Rayford, not Rayford Johnson, who
No,
was
he
the
was long before that.
the long
Jesse
jumper.
Owens.
Jesse Owens.
I know.
He was on the team with Jesse Owens.
I know.
And they never mentioned
he
it.
saw Hitler.
He saw. Yeah, was there watching Hitler, watching him perform. Oh my God.
And no one mentioned. Boy, I'm going to be talking to my family about this.
You should.
This
I mean,
goes
so what
back
the
to
hell?
this goes back to the picture things you were talking about how important it is to put the information on the back of a
Right.
picture.
Someone should have said something. Oh, yeah, you like sports? Well, guess what? There's a guy who lives about 3 miles from here you need to go see.
Oh, I'm related to him.
All right,
love
let's see. Scientists have just announced today that dolphins are second to man in intelligence levels.
I believe it.
So that pushes women down to third place.
Sorry, girls.
Sorry. Usually that's a safe joke to say in here. But okay. Quick animal fact number 25.
All right.
Most bobcats,
Yeah.
no matter what you've heard,
Yeah.
are not named Bob. And please, if
Yeah.
someone from Ziploc
Yeah.
could contact literally anyone in the cereal business, that would be great.
Yeah. Why don't they have it so you can? Yeah, that's right.
And then it goes bad.
It
'cause
goes,
it's-
and then you can't crunch it up. You have to get a special thing. I don't know.
I
why
actually
they do that.
bit the bullet and got a cereal container, like
Yeah.
the plastic ones,
Smart.
and you can keep cereal in there for 6 months and it'll stay fresh.
Man, remember I told you I bought those strawberry flavored. What are they called? Little square wheat thing. What do you call them? What?
Mini wheats.
Mini wheats.
Mini wheats. Yeah, strawberry mini wheats. And I had one serving of them. And the box has been there with a paper rolled up
I know.
inside. Now, obviously, no good anymore. I mean, they've been there for I ate one serving, and the rest of it's going to
And
go
then a
bad.
couple other things. Butter. And those square tubes that once you open it, it never goes back
Game
the
up.
same way
Yeah.
it's supposed
See,
to.
I stopped getting those, and I just get the container of like margarine. Actually, I get the spray now. The spray.
The what?
A chip clip and
Oh, chip clips. Yeah, those plastic things. You can buy those for.
Get the
By the way,
potato chip
margarine
bags.
is one molecule away from plastic. Did you know that?
margarine is plastic.
Yeah. It's horrendous for you.
Oleo.
Butter's
Oleo
much
margarine.
better for you.
Well, I mean, I use the spray butter because that's a little more healthy. I mean, as healthy as butter can
I had
possibly
no.
be.
I have spray butter that I.
But
if
spray
I ever
butter's
have
just easy.
popcorn.
Like-
Always butter over
Oh, it's butter. Yeah.
Yeah, butter's good.
And here's another thing.
Yeah.
Ritz crackers.
Yeah.
You can never open it up the right way because you're sitting there and you got, you're eating your soup and everything, and you got to stop everything you're doing to try and keep ripping it open.
Yeah, to get it farther up. So
It
you get the
never
next
goes the
cracker.
right
Yeah,
down
I
the
know.
seam.
Yeah, they go the wrong way. They go them backwards.
I'm convinced that's what took down the shuttle.
It's very possible.
The Varsity, I don't know where, I guess it's the one downtown, has a sign out front. The Varsity.
The varsity, yeah.
We are a cashless restaurant.
Oh, please. You can't tell me
Think
that.
of the people down there that scrape
they
together
trust
some
nobody?
money.
Well, see, I'm wondering if that's why they do that. If that's only in Midtown for that exact reason, so you don't have
don't
people
want
and
the bums in
handlers.
there?
Yeah.
Well, you get money handed to them, then they go in there and get something to eat.
Yeah. So they don't want them in there. They also don't want a guy paying for a $7 meal with quarters and dimes and nickels and stuff, I guess. I mean, that's one way of keeping them out of there, I
I
guess.
had to do that as a stupid radio.
Well, the
bit.
homeless bums aren't going to have a credit card, so they obviously can't go to the varsity.
Always-
Wow, that's cold.
That is
Isn't that just
cold-hearted.
cold?
The Varsity, which was done for the
You
cheap,
think? I mean, that's for
the
Georgia
poor
Tech
students.
Yeah, poor students who can't afford to. Yeah, wow.
Oh, by the way, Ole Miss won the Jello shot.
Yeah. Oh,
The record was 3,000.
Restaurants are counting the number of Jello shots in
Omaha.
honor of their particular team. And
Omaha. The
yeah.
previous record was 3,000 to 4,000 by Arkansas.
Jello shots bought at this one particular place.
Ole Miss bought 18,000. And they made so much money that they're giving some of the money back to the student food group so they can
Really?
feed to some of the poor
I'll be
students.
damned. And it wasn't originally to raise money for.
Well, basically, it was just a
charity?
joke.
Oh, it's
And
that's
And
funny.
they literally ran out of it's called Slurp, and that's how who makes it.
I'll
And
be
they ran
damned.
out of them. They had to make their own Jello there for a
Jeez.
while.
Wow.
Always give 100% at work, Kimmer.
Absolutely, 100%.
11% on Monday, 24 on Tuesday, 40 on Wednesday, 23 on Thursday, and 2% on
taper
Friday.
off a little by the end of the meal.
All right, always remember that you are a background character in someone else's life.
Oh, that's true.
You failed again to detect the exact moment you fell asleep last night.
That's also correct.
You have walked past someone on the day they died.
Probably. You know, in fact, think about it. When's the last time you saw somebody drop dead?
I've never.
Never.
I've seen someone die, but I never seen
Well,
one
but
drop
you
dead.
would think that when, people don't all die in their sleep in their bed, but isn't it amazing that you don't, when you go, but maybe there must be, there's got to be something in your last final pituitary gland chemical release or something that says, okay, this body's going to die in a couple hours, so let's prolong it until he's, not in the middle of a traffic pattern or something. It's just amazing that there aren't more people just dropping dead.
Well, there's that thing they see in hospitals that nurses and doctors talk about that a patient that's dying, obviously dying,
Yeah.
will rally
Yeah.
at the very end for
Yeah.
a few hours, will rally and seem like they're getting a little better
I've heard
before
that
they
a
just
lot.
die.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like the body's getting you ready, saying,
Well-
enjoy your lucidity for a
And
few
again,
minutes. And
let's bring this back to the Kimmer.
full circle.
Jack the Good Boy.
Yeah.
Jack the Good Boy, 2 days before he suddenly, quietly, and mysteriously died, with me, I took him around every single pasture. He wanted to go to every single pasture where other horses were, and in every single one, he gave him a little shot. He went up the horse, he gave him a little pop, just say, I'm still a hot shit around here. And I think it was the day before. It was a Friday, and then Saturday morning at 10:15, he passed away. And it was the day before he went around to every freaking horse that he used to play with and gave him a little shot in the head just to say, how you doing? I'm still the boss around here. Wow.
Which reminds me, do you ever wear the belt?
I do. I don't have it on today because I've lost another 3 pounds. I put an extra hole in
Congratulations.
it.
You're wasting away.
In fact, I told Jen. Should I tell them the numbers? I'll tell
No,
you.
you told me when you came here that you were 203 before your.
Actually, I was 205, and I call it 204 because I think I lost a pound. This morning, I stepped on the scale, and I'm 178. From 204 to 178. When Jennifer got her teeth out, and both of us are on the Kimmer dental plan. We're $10,000 for her, $10,000 for me. But didn't you have the artificial implants or whatever they call them that went in? Yeah.
Years ago when I first got clean.
Right. Anyway, but she didn't lose.
I didn't lose anything.
I did. So, and I'm hoping
I haven't
to get
seen
it back.
178.
But I do have my belt, and I wear it, but I don't wear it if I'm going to be sweating a lot because it's such a beautiful belt. And this weather, when I go to the bar in the afternoon, it's kind of bad.
One last thing.
Yeah.
Everybody you know
Yeah.
has a different picture of you in their head.
I'm sure that's true too.
Time for Bad Text Theater.
Bad Text Theater, ladies and
All
gentlemen.
right, we did the hearing aid guy. We did the bicycle one. Oh, here's another one about females. This is good.
Okay,
It's one guy and a second guy. You want to be the first guy or the second guy?
I'll be the first guy.
You have to be the first guy. All right.
This is how we do this, Jennifer. It's
A
This
lot
is
of
our
prep that
rehearsal.
goes in.
All right.
Last night, my wife asked for peace and quiet while she cooked.
Yeah, what did you do?
I turned the smoke detector off.
That'll cost you. Hoorah, Semper Fi, look out. Jennifer, I'm glad you were here and had a chance to be with us on our podcast, sweetie. Let's go get something to eat and then on to the stable. Boys, Semper Fi, God bless America. 4th of July, it's the Independence Day you're celebrating, not the date on the calendar. And we'll be back next week. We're taking Monday off, 4th of July off, and we will see you again shortly. And Jennifer will be winding her way back to Colorado. Anyway, I got to go. You're killing me. What's everything all right? Hoo, herp, look out. Hoop,